Chapter 81 Epiphyllum Pill. Intercept Moyu Qilin's plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Luo Qingshan successfully refined the first invisibility talisman, next is the mass production stage of the invisibility charm. He wanted to cut off the black jade unicorn from the hands of the Tang family. 1 or 2 invisibility charms are naturally not enough. In any case, at least 180 sheets must be refined, right? If possible, it would be safer to refine 200 to 300 of them. After all, the duration of an invisibility charm is only about 10 minutes. Only by bringing a few more invisibility charms can the duration of invisibility be slightly extended. The invisibility time has been increased, and the success rate of cutting off the black jade unicorn will naturally increase a lot. Ever since the Tang family successfully embraced such a thick thigh as the Luo family of Qingshan Town, Tang Jian, Tang Rong, these two father and son, in Qingshan Town, he lived a good life like a god. I have a big house to live in and food stamps to spend. In Qingshan Town, you can also pull the Luo family's tiger skin. There is simply no one or family who dares to provoke an outsider like the Tang family, not to mention how beautiful this day is. It's just that the Tang family is comfortable, naturally. There are other people in Qingshan Town who feel uncomfortable. Qingshan Town, the land of the Hu family. In the room where the head of the Hu family is, as the current head of the Hu family, Huda was sitting silently on the head seat with a dark face. In recent days, Huda has been in an extremely bad mood. Why is it bad? It was purely because of the outsider Tang family. Huda has been keeping an eye on the Xuanhuan family for a long time, whether it's Huda or Hu Xiuyu, who has become the new young master of the Hu family. The two father and son were thinking about what they should do all the time to get into the lap of the Luo family. What should I do to be on the same side as the Xuanhuan family? However, the Hu family has not yet ascended to power. Then the outsider, the Tang family, took the lead. How can the local snake Hu family in Qingshan Town accept this? Come on. After being silent for a long time, Huda suddenly shouted loudly. The servant of the Hu family outside the room heard his master calling, so he quickly trotted into the room. He lowered his head slightly and bent down, with a look of respect appearing on his face. What actions has the Tang family taken in recent days? Huda looked at the servant in front of him and asked in a low voice. The servant thought for a while and replied, Master, the two people from the Tang family have not done much in recent days except eating, drinking and having fun in Qingshan Town. You sure? Huda narrowed his eyes slightly. He locked his gaze firmly on the servant in front of him. Home, master. Little sure. Okay. Huda sighed slightly, then waved his hand and said, just step back. As soon as Huda said this, the servants in the room felt relieved. After cupping his hands, he quickly turned around, leave towards the outside of the room. Ziyu. What do you think our Hu family should do next? Nowadays, the Luo family is powerful. We, the Hu family, have tried every means possible to embrace the Luo family. However, the outsider Tang family took the lead. As a father, I really don't know what to do. In the room, Huda, who was sitting quietly on the throne, sighed again. He then shifted his gaze to his son Huyu in front of him. I have to say that his youngest son Huyu's appearance is so handsome. His face was white and his eyebrows were shining like stars. In Qingshan Town, as long as his youngest son waved, countless women would rush to him regardless of their own safety. Except for the fact that this guy's temperament can be a bit girly from time to time. There are no other obvious shortcomings, even in terms of cultivation progress. Hu Xiu is definitely at the top of the younger generation in Qingshan Town. Of course, Luo Qingshan, the most powerful of the younger generation of the Luo family, is incomparable. That guy is a monster, not a normal person. Father, there is no need to worry. Hu Xiu narrowed his eyes slightly as he spoke. He picked up a cup of hot tea next to him, put it to your mouth and blow on it gently. After taking a sip of hot tea, he continued, I inquired about the situation of the Tang family, an outsider. It seems that it was because of the treasure offering that the Tang family temporarily embraced the Luo family. The thighs can temporarily pull the tiger skin of the Luo family. However, things like offering treasures are usually time-sensitive. It works best when you first start. But as time goes by, as the Tang family's love for the Luo family continues to be squandered, the Tang family, who are outsiders, will eventually become ordinary. Father, now our Hu family just needs to wait silently. We can wait for 3 to 5 months, half a year or even a year. Let's see if the Tang family can still be as prosperous as it is now. Following Hu Shiyu's slightly childish voice, it gradually echoed in this room. Huda's complexion gradually began to improve. What Ziyu said makes sense, makes sense. Ha 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 ha. I want to see how long the outsider Tang family can be so arrogant. How can you truly embrace the Luo family with the mere merit of offering treasures? After laughing, Huda began to deal with the family affairs on the table. If you want to hug the Luo family's lap, the toughness of one's own strength is also a very important part. In the blink of an eye, another day passed, outside Qingshan town, in the military camp. Just when Luo Yong was immersed in the uncomfortable emotion of not being able to obtain the black jade unicorn. An old servant of the Luo family dressed in black with a wrinkled face, at this time, he suddenly appeared in the coach's camp. Luo Yong was shocked directly. Late stage of bone refining? No, it seems to be the completion of bone refining. Looking at the body in front of him, he was slightly bent, his face was full of wrinkles, and his whole body exuded bursts of decay. An old man who seems to be dying, but can still bring some threat to himself. Luo Yong couldn't help but narrowed his eyes slightly, and there were flashes of vigilance in his eyes. His right hand was already slowly touching the sharp blade at his waist. Master wants you to go back. The old man's voice was slightly hoarse. Master? When Luo Yong heard this, he looked at the old man in front of him and thought about it carefully. Suddenly, he thought of a possibility. Could this old man be someone close to his ancestor? In recent months, the changes in our ancestors can be said to be considerable. Refining elixirs and making talismans, these two special professions are both excellent. Even his own cultivation has broken through from the realm of bone refining to the realm of organ refining above bone refining, forcibly extending his time for 20 years. If this old man is the person next to Patriarch Changfeng So it seems that everything in front of me is not unexplainable. When did a person of this level of cultivation appear next to ancestor Changfeng? The bone refining is complete. This is not just a kitten or puppy. Under the leadership of the old servant, Luo Yong soon returned to the Luo family. We arrived at the courtyard where Patriarch Changfeng was. At this time, Luo Changfeng, the ancestor of the Luo family, was sitting quietly under a stone pavilion. He was holding a book called Introduction to Talisman in his hand and was reading it carefully. Ancestor Changfeng. After arriving at Luo Changfeng's side, Luo Yong lowered his head slightly and shouted in a low voice with a rather respectful expression. And the old servant of the Luo family who was originally beside Luo Yong, at this time, it had disappeared from Luo Yong's sight. Ancestor Changfeng, I didn't know you asked me to come here. But do you have anything to give me? Seeing that Luo Changfeng seemed to be unresponsive, Luo Yong was silent for a moment and then asked again. Moyu Qilin, do you still want it? Luo Changfeng put down the book in his hand. He turned his head and looked silently at Luo Yong beside him. Yes, of course I want it. Luo Yong nodded repeatedly, but soon a look of helplessness appeared on his face. I want the black jade unicorn, but since you still want it, that's fine. Luo Changfeng interrupted what Luo Yong wanted to say next. He casually took out a thick stack of talismans from his sleeve and handed it to Luo Yong's hand. What is this? Luo Yong looked at the pile in his hand and roughly estimated that there were at least 200 to 300 talismans. He was a little confused. Ancestor Changfeng, what does this mean? Could it be that by giving him so many talismans, he wanted to rob the 50 black jade unicorns? Let him rob it by force, which is no problem, but after the robbery, the dilemma that the Luo family will face is not just the current lack of food. This talisman is called the Invisibility Talisman. By masking the aura and using the refraction of light, one can completely disappear from the sight of others. Just like this. Luo Changfeng casually took out another invisibility charm from his sleeve, run the qi and blood and inject the qi and blood into the invisibility talisman. After the invisibility charm is fully activated, Luo Changfeng suddenly disappeared from Luo Yong's sight. However, it was only a moment later. Luo Changfeng took the initiative to cancel the effect of the invisibility charm and appeared in Luo Yong's sight again. How about it? Is the effect of this invisibility charm good? Generally, the time an invisibility charm can last is 1/12 to 1/10 of an hour. I just took the initiative to remove the effect of the invisibility charm. As long as you don't mess around, others won't notice it under normal circumstances. Luo Yong swallowed, looked at the invisibility talisman in his hand, and asked nervously, Ancestor Changfeng, do you want me to steal it? That I wish Luo Yong had an upright life, I have never done such a petty theft. Steal. When Luo Changfeng heard this word, he couldn't help but frown slightly, and his face suddenly became a little ugly. What do you mean by stealing? You kid, your words are a little unpleasant. So, you don't want those 50 black jade unicorns? Luo Changfeng stretched out his right hand, as if he wanted to take back the invisibility charm in Luo Yong's hand. However, for this, Luo Yong took a step back without hesitation. Just kidding, that's the Yu Qilin, one of the 3 great horses in the Gale dynasty. That thing is simply invincible in terms of boosting combat power. Now, with such a good opportunity in front of him, can he refuse it? For the sake of my family, I am willing to make such sacrifices, Luo Yong said with a rather righteous expression. Luo Changfeng, who was sitting quietly under the stone pavilion, looked at Luo Yong in front of him. He looked again and saw the invisibility charm that he was holding tightly. He couldn't help but smile and shook his head. After that, he picked up the Introduction to Talisman on the stone table and read it silently. What? Is there anything else? After reading the book for a while, Luo Changfeng realized that Luo Yong beside him had not left yet. He glanced at Luo Yong beside him. He asked in a low voice while looking at the book. Ancestor Changfeng, the senior just now. How come I've never seen it before? You mean that guy? Luo Changfeng glanced at the hiding place of the servant who was in the bone refining perfection realm, couldn't help but smile, and whispered, that guy was force-fed by me with pills recently. It took me a lot of energy to create such a monk who is in the perfect state of bone refining. Recently? Luo Yong couldn't help but frown slightly when he heard this. He didn't quite understand the meaning of Patriarch Changfeng's words. The art of alchemy is broad and profound. Elixirs are different from each other. I don't know, have you ever heard of an elixir called Epiphyllum? Ephemeral flowers will fade away if removed, and they will bloom in an instant. You may think that guy is already old, but in fact his real age is not as old as yours. If you want, I can get you some. After taking it, I don't know how many years I have left to live. No need. Luo Yong shook his head repeatedly. Then, he took the 200 to 300 invisibility charms and disappeared into the courtyard. As for what Luo Changfeng said just now, it was not nonsense. Everything he said was true. Epiphyllum is a special type of elixir specially designed to squeeze the human body's potential. The refining of Epiphyllum pill is not simple. It is very rare to find people who can take the Epiphyllum pill and become immortal. For example, the servant who was in the bone refining perfection realm just now, among the thousands of diehards, he was the only one who could survive after taking the Epiphyllum pill. Others either couldn't withstand the power of the Epiphyllum pill and exploded to death, either the potential is completely squeezed out, the lifespan is exhausted, and the body dies. Get the invisibility charm and leave the Luo family. Luo Yong soon returned to the military camp outside Qingshi town. In his general camp, all the bone refining realm monks who were loyal to the Luo family gathered together. Steal, oh no. It should be said that the plan to intercept the Hu Tang family's 50 black jade unicorns has been quietly started. Want to execute and complete this plan? Luo Yong and his group must first squat near the Tang family and wait silently, then, wait for the transaction between the Tang family and that caravan to be completed, and after accepting the 50 black jade unicorns. Luo Yong's plan to cut off Hu can now be implemented. He believed that after the transaction was completed and the Tang family successfully took over the 50 black jade unicorns, it must be the best time for him to take action. As time flows, in the blink of an eye, it was already late at night. At this time, a bright and graceful circle hung high in the sky. The surrounding temperature is slightly cold. In Huaishui County, countless refugees were walking slowly on this land with indifferent expressions. It is located in Huaishui County. Within Tangjia City, Tang Huiping, the current head of the Tang family, was currently staying in an extremely luxurious restaurant. A powerful caravan was entertained quite grandly. the restaurant was naturally opened by the Tang family themselves. This caravan is one of hundreds of caravans sent by the Su family, the strongest family in Wanshan Mansion, the reason why this caravan came to Huaishui County. The purpose is to exchange the Su family's unique black jade unicorn for a sufficient amount of food reserves. Brother Su, there is not much to say, but everything is in this wine. In the extremely luxurious restaurant, in room number 1 Tianzi, Tang Huiping, the head of the Tang family, who was quite fat and had a shiny face, was smiling while holding up a wine jar, directly to the mouth, that is, poor heart. Opposite Tang Huiping, there was a strong and rough-looking member of the Su family. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction and said roughly, "I am very satisfied with the reception given by the head of the Tang family. Since the Tang family has sufficient food reserves. The head of the Tang family is so hospitable again. Then when I get home, it might be a good idea to ask the head of the family for another quota of 50 black jade unicorns." As soon as the leader of the Su family caravan said this, Tang Huiping's drinking speed has obviously increased a lot. Moyu Qilin, this is Moyu Qilin. One of the 3 great horses in the Gale dynasty. If cultivated well, some black jade unicorns in the bone refining realm can be cultivated, then, paired with some bone refining realm monks, so this cavalry, on the battlefield, is simply a godlike existence. No army can stop the charge of the Moyu Qilin, for the rest of the time. The leader of the Su family's caravan and Tang Huiping spent most of their time in this restaurant, drinking like crazy, until everyone from the Su family and the Tang family drank so much that they became unconscious. This time, the transaction between the Su family's caravan and the Tang family has come to a successful conclusion. Head of the Tang family, the 50 black jade unicorns will be handed over to you. I have made you a friend. If I have the chance, I will come to Huaishui County again. The leader of the Su family's caravan said with a drunken face. Friends, good friends. Tang Huiping excitedly hugged the Su family member in front of him, and then shook hands. The 2 parties separated reluctantly, and just as this transaction ended, the people of the Tang family were quite excited after receiving the 50 black jade unicorns from the Su family caravan. Luo Yong and his party were hidden in this Tangjia city, then he silently appeared on a street outside Tangjia restaurant. Chapter 82, Moyu Qilin is in hand, borrowing food from the Tang family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The smoothness of this infiltration is beyond my imagination. Does the Tang family really want to guard against other forces? Luo Yong looked at the extremely luxurious Tangjia restaurant in front of him, then he looked at the direction in which Tang Huiping, the head of the Tang family, was leaving. At this time, he couldn't help but want to laugh. With the Tang family's defensive strength, isn't that black jade unicorn just waiting to be stolen? If it was stolen, the Tang family deserved it. He didn't pay any attention to the 50 black jade unicorns. It seems that this black jade unicorn should belong to his Luo family. Although Luo Yong slightly despised the Tang family, but there is still some caution that should be exercised. After all, Luo Yong is now in the realm of the Tang family, and he also wanted to successfully cut off the beards of the 50 black jade unicorns. He didn't want his plan to fail because of his negligence. General, when should we take action? Outside the racecourse specially built by the Tang family in order to receive Moyu Qilin, a deputy general next to Luo Yong suddenly asked. Hold on. Luo Yong looked at the sky at this time and looked at the people guarding the racecourse. He looked tired and faced the yawning guard. He lowered his voice slightly and whispered, in the blink of an eye. Another half-hour passed. At this time, the crescent moon in the sky had already set. The sun of the new day has not yet risen. Everything that could be seen in all directions was a bit gray. The visibility that can be observed with the naked eye has vaguely reached the lowest time of the day, and now is the time. It can also be regarded as the time of day when people are most tired and sleepy. If you do it at this time, you will definitely be able to increase your success rate a lot. About there. It's time to take action. Luo Yong looked at the bone refining realm servants beside him, or the generals who were loyal to the Luo family, and he suddenly spoke out. Yes, General. The group of people beside Luo Yong nodded one after another and looked at each other. Then he took out an invisibility charm engraved with mysterious lines and stole the power of heaven and earth. Run the qi and blood and pour the qi and blood into the invisibility talisman. In just an instant, Luo Yong and the group of people around him seem to disappear between the world, although the black jade unicorn is docile. But if you want to cut off all 50 horses from the Tang family, naturally, some necessary movements will be caused, therefore, those Tang family members guarding the racecourse must be dealt with. Fortunately, the invisibility charm has a unique effect. I want to do it quietly, get rid of those Tang family members guarding the racecourse. This is not a difficult thing for Luo Yong and those people Luo Yong brings. How's it going? Is everything resolved? Following the Tang family members who were guarding the racecourse, they fell one by one. Luo Yong, and the people Luo Yong brought, at this time, they also appeared in this racecourse again. It's all solved. A lieutenant beside Luo Yong nodded silently. However, just when Luo Yong and his group were planning to deal with the issue of the 50 black jade unicorns, a bone-refining realm monk lying on the horse farm pretending to be dead, at this time, he suddenly got up. He ran frantically towards the direction of the Tang family outside the racecourse. While running, the guy shouted loudly, "It seems that he wants to attract the attention of others." Fortunately, Luo Yong's movements were faster. Before the bone-refining realm monk could say anything, a 100-forged steel knife had already been inserted straight into his heart. A little careless, looking at the person slowly falling to the ground in front of him, Luo Yong couldn't help but feel a little scared. If you really let that guy run away, let that guy shout out. These 50 black jade unicorns are probably not destined to belong to his Luo family. Even if Luo Yong has an invisibility charm on his body, he can run away smoothly. The Luo family's losses were still extremely huge. Although some hiccups occurred during the process of dealing with the people of the Tang family who were guarding the racecourse, but then, it was much easier to follow the journey of these 50 black jade unicorns. Perhaps it was because the 50 black jade unicorns sent by the Su family's caravan were in a state of unrecognized ownership. This resulted in these 50 black jade unicorns. As long as someone is holding them, they will follow them obediently, neither noisy nor noisy, unusually quiet and well-behaved. So, this is the legendary black jade Qilin, one of the 3 great horses of the Gale dynasty. This little appearance is really pretty. Outside Tangjia City, Luo Yong looked at the 50 black jade unicorns beside him. His eyes couldn't help but be filled with excitement. There was also a look of joy on his face. Black jade unicorn, this is a good thing. Now it has slipped out of the hands of the Tang family so smoothly. How could Luo Yong not be excited? How could he not be happy? Next, let's walk quickly. It will be safe when we return to Qingshan town. At that time, even those in the Tang family will find that these 50 black jade unicorns have disappeared. They don't know who did it. The next day, early morning, the sky is getting gray and bright. The surrounding temperature is still slightly cold. Countless people are still sleeping. Luo Yong had already pulled the 50 black jade unicorns to a hidden and uninhabited mountain outside Qingshan town. Naturally, there is no way to store these 50 black jade unicorns in Qingshan town. After all, there are many people and many eyes. If one were not careful, the news would be known to people from the Tang family. Then won't the Luo family have to face the endless anger of the Tang family? Ancestor Changfeng, here are the 50 black jade unicorns that were intercepted from the Tang family. There were no near misses during this period. Next to Luo Changfeng, Luo Yong said with a little pride in his eyes. The black jade unicorn, one of the 3 great horses. The body is like black jade, and the character is gentle. These are all correct, but are those people in the Su family a little too bitchy? Luo Changfeng squatted down slightly and stared at Yu Qilin's lower body, the parts that had been artificially castrated. He couldn't help but sigh in disappointment and shook his head. It seems that the idea of expanding the scale of Yu Qilin was immediately scrapped. But the behavior of those in the Su family is barely understandable. Black jade unicorn, this excellent variety. After all, it was the Su family who spent countless years cultivating them. If it were that easy, it would have been obtained by other forces. Then wouldn't the Su family lose its absolute monopoly on Yu Qilin? Didn't the Su family suffer a huge loss? Next, please make arrangements for the recognition of this Yu Qilin's master. Also, before the strength of our Luo family has increased to a certain level. These 50 black jade unicorns, try not to let them appear in the sight of outsiders. After saying this, after finishing these instructions, Luo Changfeng turned around, as if he wanted to return to the Luo family. continue to practice hard and study the methods of alchemy and talisman making. Ancestor Changfeng, there is one more thing. I think I need to tell you something. Seeing that Patriarch Changfeng seemed to want to leave, Luo Yong hesitated for a moment, and then spoke out. Luo Changfeng asked, "What's the matter?" The person in charge of the Su family's caravan seems to be very satisfied with this transaction with the Tang family. It is possible that we will come to Huaishui County again and conduct another transaction with the Tang family. If by that time, the Su family's caravan really comes, Luo Yong whispered, but look at his expression, obviously he wanted to continue cutting off his hair. Since we've already done it, what's the difference between once and twice? If the invisibility charm is not enough by then, tell me. I'll make another 300 to 500 pictures for you. After saying this, Luo Changfeng disappeared from Luo Yong's sight in an instant, as if he turned into a breeze. Here, he's gone. Ancestor Changfeng's cultivation seems to have improved a lot compared to before. Luo Yong looked at the direction Luo Changfeng left. He couldn't help but sigh in a low voice. As time flows, as the sky gradually gets brighter, the Tang family in Tangjia City finally noticed something unusual at the racecourse. Any news? Who did it? Tangjaiqing, the land of the Tang family, there is a room covered with precious calligraphy and paintings, which looks quite jeweled. Tang Huiping, the head of the Tang family with a fat body and a shiny face. At this time, he had a gloomy face. It was somewhat difficult to sit upright on a specially made large armchair. My family, my master, and my subordinates haven't found out who did it yet. In the room, a servant in grey was kneeling on one knee, the head was slightly lowered, and the body seemed to be trembling slightly. Apparently, this servant, he seemed to be extremely afraid of the head of the Tang family, Tang Huiping, who looked like a fat pig. Trash, really a bunch of trash. Tang Huiping casually picked up a ceramic teacup next to him and threw it directly at the grey-clothed servant in front of him. Bang! After the ceramic teacup came out of the hand, it was wrapped in a layer of powerful energy and blood. In the void, after several accelerations, the ceramic teacup seemed to have turned into a murderous weapon. In just an instant, the ceramic teacup pierced the chest of the grey-clothed servant kneeling in front of him. Home, head of the family, me. After the grey-clothed servant's chest was pierced, there was blood in his mouth. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, however, he was still unable to say anything and fell directly to the ground. After a while, bright red blood flowed all over the floor. The strong smell of blood gradually filled the room. Come on. Tang Huiping looked at the person in front of him, he frowned slightly, and a look of disgust flashed in his eyes. Home, master. What are your orders? As Tang Huiping's call sounded, another servant in grey clothes who was guarding outside the room quickly trotted into the room. He knelt on his knees, his body trembling. Clean this place up. I don't want the room to still look like this when I come back later. As Tang Huiping spoke, he stood up silently and walked out of the room, and the servant in grey knelt on the ground for a long time, until Tang Huiping completely disappeared from the servant's sight. Only then did the servant in grey have the courage to stand up again. With a trembling body, he worked hard to deal with the corpses at the scene and the blood stains everywhere. Who is it? Who did it? Who dares to steal those 50 black jade unicorns that already belong to my Tang family? In the Tang family, Tang Huiping walked forward silently. As he walked, he thought silently in his heart. Is it the Luo family? Because a while ago, I cut off all food supplies in Qingshan town and Huangsu town, so that made the Luo family hate my Tang family. Then it led to this happening. Tang Huiping thought silently in his heart. But soon, he shook his head silently. Qingshan town, Luo family, among the 4 major forces in Huaishui County, it is the weakest. If you hadn't thought that there was an ancestor from the Zang refining realm sitting in the Luo family's territory, he would not even take the mere Luo family seriously. Therefore, this matter should not be done by the Luo family. The Luo family doesn't have the courage, nor do they have the ability. If it's not the Luo family, then who is it? The people from Huaishui King Fengwentai? Or is it that the Chen family has a profound background and has existed in Huaishui County for who knows how long? Obviously, whether it is the Huaishui King's side or the Chen family, an old family with a profound foundation, these 2 forces are suspected of stealing the Tang family's 50 black jade unicorns. but now the biggest question is, the Tang family doesn't have any evidence. There is no evidence to prove who actually did this. Without evidence, although Tang Weiping was very angry, but he had no choice but to suppress the anger in his heart, leave this matter aside for now. So, the huge Huaishui County, several days passed peacefully again. Qingshan Town, the land of the Luo family, in the room where the head of the Luo family is, as the current head of the Luo family, Luo Ping was still sitting quietly on the throne as usual, handling various government affairs between the family and Qingshan Town and Huangqiu Town, because the number of refugees in Qingshan Town and Huangqiu Town has increased significantly in recent days. Therefore, Qingshan Town was expanded and the city wall was built. These two things have gradually come to an end. It only takes about half a month to completely complete these two things that are laborious but of great significance. As for the reclamation of farmland, Luo Ping has been increasing his efforts. This has to be done. Qingshan Town and Huangqiu Town. These two cities happen to be located on the side of the Huai River. Therefore, they do not need to consider water sources. In addition, in many cases, the amount of farmland is almost equal to the production of food. Therefore, no matter how much farmland there is, the Luo family will not dislike it. But now there is a problem that is clearly placed in front of Luo Ping. Luo Ping had to face up to and take this issue seriously, that is the rate of food consumption, which is faster than Luo Ping expected. If we talk about the food reserves of the Luo family, before, it can also support expenses between 2 months and 3 months, so, look at the current food consumption situation, let alone 2 or 3 months, even 1.5 months is a bit reluctant, but now, the farmland reclaimed by the Luo family has not yet started sowing. Even if the seeds have been sown, it will take at least 4 or 5 months before the first round of grain matures. The Luo family may not be able to sustain it for that long. What's next? From now on, reject the influx of refugees. If this is the case, it can somewhat alleviate the current predicament. However, this kind of behavior treats the symptoms but not the root cause. Unless we drive out half of the people in Qingshan Town and Huangqiu Town. If this is the case, it can last until the next round of harvest time. But if we really do this, it will definitely cause great damage to the reputation of our Luo family. It will definitely cause great harm to our Luo family's war and development potential. This must not be done unless absolutely necessary. But, if we don't do this, how can our Luo family survive the current predicament? In the room, Luo Pingping sat on the main seat, thinking silently in his heart, but the more he thought about it, the more he felt a headache. The Tang family, a grain merchant, has completely cut off its food supply to Qingshan Town and Huangqiu Town. If something unexpected happens next, the current situation of the Luo family has really fallen into a deadlock step by step. Luo Ping is not the only one who is aware of the Luo family's current predicament. Located outside Qingshan Town, Luo Yong is among the military camps. At this time, he was vaguely aware of it. If it were before, Luo Yong might have felt a little confused about this dilemma and didn't know what to do. But Luo Yong now is different from Luo Yong before, ever since he successfully intercepted the 50 black jade unicorns in the hands of the Tang family. Luo Yong seemed to have been open to a new world. The Luo family is short of food. What should we do? It's simple, just keep going to the Tang family to borrow some food. Isn't that the end of it? That's it for other forces. The Tang family is the super big grain merchant in Huaishui County. The Tang family's food reserves are staggeringly large. The Luo family does not need to borrow all of the Tang family's food reserves. They only need to borrow a small part, just some of the food that leaks out of the Tang family's fingers. Qingshan Luo's family can safely survive this round of difficulties. General, do we really want to do this? The black jade unicorn that was intercepted by the Hu Tang family before was already extremely dangerous. If this time, the Tang family notices it, what we are facing is not as simple as lack of food today. In the military camp, on the left side of Luo Yong, the lieutenant general said with hesitation. Luo Qingshan, who was on the other side of Luo Yong, didn't say anything, but the worried look in his eyes can already explain everything. Chapter 84 3000 Talismans. Borrow food from the Tang family again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ever since Luo Changfeng started practicing hard in seclusion, time passes quickly. In the blink of an eye, half a month has passed, and within this half-month, the expansion of Qingshan town and the construction of the city wall have been completed. The reclamation of farmland is still continuing, however, due to the season and the time has not yet come, therefore, the cultivated farmland has not yet been successfully sown. But calculating the time, it should be almost the same, judging from the recent outdoor temperature. At most half a month, the Luo family in Qingshan town can start sowing and plant the first round of food. Apart from these things, of course, within this half-month, Luo Yong would bring some elite soldiers with him from time to time, go to the Tang family's territory and enjoy the autumn breeze. If they are lucky, Luo Yong and his party can gain a lot of money. If you are unlucky, they could only return empty-handed. After all, the Tang family is not stupid. Either, after realizing that someone is staring at him, he will naturally take some defensive measures, but no matter what, Luo Yong's behavior has relieved a lot of pressure on the Luo family of Qingshan town. Even this series of behaviors of Luo Yong, it also caused Luo Ping, who was not very supportive at the beginning, to now ask questions every now and then. When can we continue to go to the Tang family's territory to fight the autumn breeze? Who cannot love something that is free of charge? Qingshan town, the land of the Luo family, in the courtyard where the ancestors of the Luo family lived, under a simple stone pavilion made of bluestone, Luo Qingshan was holding a writing brush at this time and scribbling on a piece of yellow paper. Of course, this so-called graffiti is just a somewhat exaggerated adjective. What Luo Qingshan was really doing at this time, they are constantly mass-producing a kind of talisman called the Lightning Strike Talisman. The Lightning Strike Talisman is one of many offensive talismans. It is the most powerful talisman that Luo Qingshan has been able to produce recently. It's not like there aren't other talismans with the same power as this Lightning Strike Talisman. The main reason is that Luo Qingshan has made many Lightning Strike Talismans and is more familiar with them. The success rate of making talismans is much higher than that of other attack-type talismans. In half a month, I got a total of 3,000 lightning talismans. It should be almost done, right? Luo Qingshan stretched out his right hand and pinched the thick stack of lightning charms in his sleeve. He looked at the stone table again and saw a pile of lightning strike talismans that were all above ordinary low-grade ones. He couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. The power of these lightning strike talismans, although weak, can only be compared to a full blow from the bone refining realm. The stronger ones can only match a full blow from the Zang refining realm. But if Luo Qingshan activates all the thousands of lightning talismans at the same time and throws them towards the enemy, then, even a monk who has reached the state of perfect Zang refining, it shouldn't be able to withstand the terrifying lethality of these lightning strike talismans, right? Even some weaker blood training monks, Luo Qingshan felt, would not be able to withstand the damage of these lightning strike talismans. The talisman is almost finished. Now it's time to study the elixir for improving cultivation. For example, Epiphyllum is a pill that can improve your cultivation level after being taken, but it has extremely side effects. The difficulty of refining is not that high, but if you want to refine a pill that can improve your cultivation level without having too many side effects, the difficulty of refining is a bit high. Of course, the blood replenishing pills used to replenish the power of qi and blood are not included in the list of pills for improving cultivation. That thing is purely used to restore vitality and blood. It is not of much help to the improvement of cultivation level. As time flows, in the blink of an eye, another day passed. Qingshan town, inner city. The location of the Tang family's mansion, Tang Jian, the current head of the old Tang family, was sitting quietly at the front entrance of the mansion. His eyes were slightly narrowed, and his right hand was casually supporting his head. At this time, Tang Jian seemed to be thinking about his own life. "Dad, what are you thinking about?" In the Tang family's mansion, Tang Rong, who had a small black pigtail tied behind his head, looked at his father, who seemed to have something wrong in the past few days. He walked forward silently and couldn't help but ask aloud. "I'm thinking about life." Tang Jian replied in a low voice. "Thinking about life?" When Tang Rong heard this, he couldn't help but be confused. Thinking about what life? "Dad, is there something wrong with your brain? Go, can you talk?" Tang Jian stretched out his right hand and slapped his son Tang Rong on the head. Then, he said with a slightly worried expression, "I'm just thinking about what our Lao Tang family should do next." "Are you just going to stay in the inner city of Qingshan town, hugging the Luo family's lap, and wait to die. If that's possible, that would be pretty cool. But the problem is, the matter of the Xianbeiluo family. As time continues to pass, the relationship between our Lao Tang family and the Luo family will gradually fade away with time. If that time comes, can our Lao Tang family still hold the Luo family's lap? In this Qingshan town, can you still pull the Luo family's tiger skin? Obviously, this kind of thing is somewhat unrealistic. When young Tang Rong heard what his father said, he couldn't help but lower his head slightly and fell into deep thought. Dad, why don't you show more of your abilities in front of the Luo family? With your abilities and your mouth that can fool a thief. Become a famous person under the command of the senior officials of the Luo family. This shouldn't be a big deal. Tang Jian rolled a helpless glance at his son Tang Rong beside him, and whispered, then, let this little brat like you enjoy a happy life in Qingshan town. Yeah. Tang Rong nodded with a smile, but soon he reacted. He shook his head repeatedly and said with a serious expression, Dad, what does it mean to enjoy a happy life? When my grandfather passed away, I asked you to take good care of me. What I wanted to accomplish most at the beginning was to strengthen our Lao Tang family. Now, the only ones left in our Lao Tang family are you and me. If you don't work hard, you will accidentally make a mistake. Do you still have the nerve to go underground to see Grandpa? Tang Jian sighed again and tilted his head, as if he no longer wanted to listen to his son Tang Rong's deception. What you said is all bullshit. However, you just said that you should show more of your abilities in front of the Luo family. There is some truth to this. Okay, let's do it. Since our Lao Tang family has decided to hug the Luo family tightly, how can we be idle every day without working? After making a decision, Tang Jian is the current head of the old Tang family. Then he began to frequently run in the direction of the Luo family. I want to look familiar, I want to become a popular person under the leadership of the Luo family's senior officials. Naturally, we need to communicate more with people from the Luo family. After he got acquainted with the people from the Luo family, I want to show off my abilities again. Wouldn't that be a piece of cake? So, that's it. 3 days passed smoothly and quietly in this huge Huaishui county, and during these 3 days, Tang Jian, the current head of the old Tang family, in addition to frequently running towards the Luo family, he also became familiar with Luo Yong, the coach in the military camp outside Qingshan town. In this cold and cruel world, although strength is often the most important, but if you have a thief's mouth, it is often a great help to many people. Brother Luo, Brother Luo. Good things are coming, good things are coming. Outside Qingshan town, in the military camp, in a tent that looks the most massive, Tang Jian, the current head of the old Tang family, hurriedly trotted in the direction of Luo Yong with a smile on his face. Oh. It is you? Luo Yong, who was sitting casually on the main seat, looked at Tang Jian in front of him. He couldn't help but yawned and asked in a low voice, why did you come to find me? Good things, of course there are great things. Tang Jian chuckled and whispered. What good thing? Luo Yong asked. Brother Luo, based on my observation of the Luo family, is our Luo family experiencing some food shortage recently? Is it because of the lack of food that even nearby towns are afraid to fight? Oh. How do you know about this? Until this moment, Luo Yong's expression gradually became more serious. Even what Tang Jian calls our Luo family, he didn't pay too much attention to it. Of course it's because I can pinch and count. Brother Luo, you already knew this. Luo Yong narrowed his eyes slightly, and after thinking for a while, he asked, in that case, what do you mean by putting this matter out in the open and saying it out loud? Brother Luo, I said it right from the beginning, something good is going to happen, Tang Jian said with a smile, but this time, things came around again. What a good thing. If you don't say anything, believe it or not, I will whip you. Luo Yong frowned slightly, his patience was gradually being worn away. Food from the Tang family. Tang Jian whispered. What do you mean? Luo Yong didn't understand. In recent days, it is not that Luo Yong has not thought about fighting against the autumn wind, but the main problem is that the Tang family's defense has been too strict recently. This made it difficult for Luo Yong to start. Just now, I calculated that the Tang family will secretly send a caravan tomorrow, and the caravan will bring a huge amount of food. Then, go to Naluoshan mansion to exchange for other commonly used daily necessities. If Brother Luo can intercept the food carried by that caravan tomorrow, wouldn't that alleviate most of the food pressure? What you said makes sense. Luo Yong nodded silently, but after a moment he asked Tang Jian in front of him with some disbelief, "But, is your news reliable?" "It's reliable, it must be reliable. Brother Luo, you must believe me." Luo Yong looked at Tang Jian in front of him, thought about it again, and then said helplessly, Okay. So, under Tang Jian's so-called ability to pinch and calculate, the next day, Luo Yong brought 3,000 elite soldiers, guarding the only way for that caravan to pass. However, what happened next seemed to be somewhat different from what Tang Jian said, and then Luo Yong waited for about an hour. He finally couldn't bear it anymore. He turned his head, with a sullen face, and asked in a low voice to Tang Jian beside him, "Where is the caravan? Could your news be deceiving me?" Tang Jian, who was next to Luo Yong, didn't even turn his head. Just by listening to Luo Yong's tone, he could clearly tell his brother Luo seemed a little unhappy. "Brother Luo, wait a little longer, it should be soon." Tang Jian swallowed his saliva and wiped the bead-sized drops of sweat on his forehead before he spoke with some confidence. So, under the scorching sun and the warm sunshine, another half-hour passed quickly. But, at this moment, as Tang Jian expected, the Tang family's caravan still didn't show up. Hiss. I guess, could it be that I miscalculated? It shouldn't be. This matter was the result of Tang Jian's calculation. After many calculations, there shouldn't be any errors, but why? The time is almost up, that caravan hasn't appeared yet. General, it seems someone is coming. Just when Tang Jian was getting more and more unsure, a deputy general next to Luo Yong suddenly said excitedly. Hearing the sound, Tang Jian and Luo Yong looked forward. Sure enough, it was not far ahead. There is a caravan holding the Tang family's flag high, slowly walking towards this side. Moreover, it is visible to the naked eye. This caravan seemed to have brought a lot of food with it. Brother Luo, the Tang family's caravan has arrived. After Tang Jian slowly breathed a sigh of relief, he forced out a smile and said with a smile to Luo Yong beside him. I saw. Luo Yong nodded silently. After that, he focused all his attention on that caravan. Next, it is a matter of calculating mentally but not intentionally. In the case of a sneak attack, they wanted to get rid of all the guards of the Tang family caravan. This is not difficult for Luo Yong. After getting rid of the guards of the Tang family's caravan, how to transport this huge batch of grain back to the Luo family's grain depot in Qingshan town, this is a big problem for Luo Yong. However, there is no solution to this problem. After a full 5 hours of hard work, Luo Yong and the 3,000 elite soldiers he brought, then this batch of grain was quietly transported back to the vicinity of Qingshan town. During this period, it was not like he had never met people from the Tang family, but fortunately, the number of people from the Tang family is not too large, and those with the highest cultivation level do not exceed the middle stage of bone refining. I want to get rid of those patrolling Tang family members. It's not a particularly difficult thing. So, you snatch these from the Tang family. In Qingshan town, outside an already full granary of the Luo family, Luo Ping looked at everything in front of him. He couldn't help being a little dumbfounded. What's robbing? This is called borrowing. Luo Yong glanced at his elder brother Luo Ping helplessly. Okay, that's borrowing. After Luo Ping nodded silently, he excitedly asked Luo Yong beside him, after borrowing this batch of grain, can I continue to borrow grain from the Tang family? If there is another batch of grain of this amount, our Luo family should not be short of food in a short time. Even if it lasts until the next batch of grain harvest time. This should not be a big problem. It's difficult. Luo Yong shook his head and said with a somewhat helpless expression, after this batch of grain is borrowed by our Luo family, the Tang family will definitely be more careful and vigilant in the future. If you want to take action again, it is probably impossible. As he spoke, Luo Yong seemed to think of something, and then he reached out and patted Tang Jian's shoulder next to him, and said with a smile, the main contributors to the ability to borrow food from the Tang family so smoothly this time are the main contributors. And it has to be Brother Tang. Without him, we probably wouldn't be able to borrow this batch of grain. Oh. Luo Ping turned his head in surprise. He looked at Tang Jian next to Luo Yong, and a look of disbelief flashed across his eyes. The so-called Tang Jian was in his mind. He is a big liar, a person with high emotional intelligence and a good talker. This guy, besides offering 1.0, to be precise, it should be other than offering half a low-grade spiritual stone. There is nothing special about it anymore, and now, something he didn't expect was the major contributor to this matter turned out to be this big liar. Okay, I understand this. Luo Ping nodded, and then glanced at Tang Jian beside him, then he turned around and left here silently. There are still a lot of things waiting for him to deal with in the Luo family. This time he came out and took a break from his busy schedule. Brother Tang, the Luo family will remember your contribution. Also, if there is such a good thing in the future, you must remember to come find me. I'm leaving first. There are still some things to deal with in the military camp. Luo Yong patted Tang Jian's shoulder again. After saying that, he laughed and left, and the current head of the old Tang family, which only has 2 people, is Tang Jian. After looking at the direction Luo Yong left, he couldn't help but lower his head slightly, and there were flashes of thinking in his eyes. Where is the problem? Tang Jian still didn't understand something until this moment. Judging from the time he calculated, the Tang family's caravan should appear in that direction immediately at noon, when the scorching sun was in the sky. However, he seemed to have miscalculated the time when the Tang family's caravan appeared. Fortunately, he only miscalculated the time when the Tang family's caravan appeared, rather than the wrong place where the Tang family's caravan appeared, if not that I and the original situation. He really didn't know how to explain it to Luo Yong. In the future, we need to be clearer about this kind of thing. A few mistakes may lead to completely different results. Chapter 85 Broken Mirror Pill, the second Zang refining person of the Luo family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although he successfully borrowed food from the Tang family, it relieved the Luo family from great pressure, but attacked nearby towns to expand the family's power. Even though the Luo family had the ability, they still didn't do it. The pressure on food has been alleviated a lot, but this does not mean that the Luo family can expand the family power unscrupulously. In the blink of an eye, another day passed. During this day, nothing major happened to the Luo family in Qingshan town. The Chen family, on the Huai River King's side, they are still immersed in developing their respective forces. On the other hand, the Tang family owns countless grains and is the largest grain merchant in Huaishui County. There was a lot of commotion today. Who is it? Tang Jiqing, inside the Tang family's mansion, room filled with expensive calligraphy and paintings, giving off an aura of nobility, the extremely fat Tang Huiping. At this time, some were smashing various things angrily. The previous 50 black jade unicorns were stolen, so that was all. After all, he was indeed a little too ostentatious at that time. A while ago, bandits appeared in the Tang family's territory, although on the surface, it caused a lot of trouble to the Tang family, but in fact, those thieves and bandits did not cause much loss to the Tang family. That group of thieves, except for being a little slippery, there is nothing special about it. However, the caravan that was robbed yesterday was a little different. That caravan was carefully prepared by Tang Huiping. He also brought with him nearly 1/20 of the family's food inventory. The purpose is to go to the city of Luoshan Prefecture in exchange for enough supplies, but now not only the supplies have not been replaced, but even the caravan has been directly robbed. How could Tang Huiping calm down? How could Tang Huiping be calm? It has always been their Tang family, from the Yu Qilin before to the caravan carrying massive amounts of food now. Tang Huiping even sometimes suspected that someone was targeting the Tang family. Any news? Who did it this time? In the rather jeweled room, Tang Huiping stared at the servant in front of him who was kneeling on his knees with his head pressed tightly to the ground. He asked him coldly with a somewhat ferocious expression. It hasn't been investigated yet. The servant's body was trembling slightly as he answered. His face was full of fear for Tang Huiping. It hasn't been investigated yet. Damn it, you deserve it. As Tang Huiping spoke, he picked up a ceramic teacup next to him. It seemed that he wanted to end the life of the servant in front of him. Huiping, you are a little confused. Just as the ceramic teacup was wrapped with the power of qi and blood, it was thrown out. An old man with a slightly stooped body, white hair, and wrinkles on his face. Suddenly, he appeared in this room. At the same time, the old man also stretched out a somewhat skinny right hand. He took the ceramic teacup. Old ancestor. Seeing the old man in front of me, I felt the terrifying aura on the old man's body. After Tang Huiping swallowed his saliva, he couldn't help but lower his proud head slightly. When the old man saw this, he sighed slightly and shook his head helplessly. He seemed to not know what to say. The original Tang family and the original Tang Huiping were not like this, although the Tang family was strong back then. Although it can compete with the Huaishui king, the Chen family, an established family, is known as one of the three major forces in Huaishui County, but among these three major forces, the Tang family is definitely the weakest. Whether it was against the Huaishui king or the Chen family, an established family, the Tang family had no advantage at all. However, as Tang Huiping came to power, after Tang Huiping became the new head of the Tang family, suddenly, the situation changed dramatically. After more than 20 years of hard work and management, the Tang family gradually gained the title of a large grain merchant. The Tang family's food inventory gradually became larger and more terrifying. The comprehensive strength of the Tang family has been steadily rising every year. Just when everyone thought that the Tang family would gradually grow stronger under the leadership of the head of the family, Tang Huiping's weight began to increase strangely. His personality began to change as his weight continued to increase, until now, his character has become a little distorted. Who did it? It's not clear yet, isn't it? That the old man named Tang Qian looked at the Tang family servant beside him, who was kneeling on his knees and trembling slightly. Then, he shifted his gaze to Tang Huiping. Old ancestor. This matter has not yet been investigated clearly. Tang Huiping lowered his head slightly and whispered. You should step back first. Tang Qian looked at the slightly trembling servant beside him and said in a slightly hoarse voice, and after the servant left, Tang Qian then walked silently in the direction of Tang Huiping. He casually found a chair and sat down. After being silent for a while, Tang Qian said in a hoarse voice, there are only a few people in Huaishui County who have the ability to take action against my Tang family. The Luo family, the Huai River King, and the Chen family. Tang Huiping thought for a while, and then added, Ancestor, the Luo family should not have the guts to attack our Tang family, and they should not have the ability. He. Tang Qian smiled, picked up a cup of hot tea next to him, and drank it in one gulp. He silently glanced at Tang Huiping beside him and said in a low voice, the Luo family doesn't have the ability or the courage. This matter may not be possible. Ancestor, you mean that it was the Qingshan Luo family who attacked our Tang family? I never said that. Tang Qian shook his head, and then said, I just said that the Luo family might be the one who attacked our Tang family, but I don't mean that it must be the Luo family. Tang Huiping asked, Ancestor, which force do you think has the greatest chance of attacking our Tang family? It's hard to say, it's hard to say. After Tang Huiping thought for a while, he asked, Ancestor, what do you think our Tang family should do next? Tang Qian narrowed his eyes slightly, smiled and said, one word, wait. Wait, but when Tang Huiping heard this word, he couldn't help but frown slightly. A little doubt gradually appeared on his face. When Tang Qian saw this, he explained aloud, the current situation is already beneficial to our Tang family. The Gale dynasty suffered from severe drought for several years. Countless people have been displaced, either becoming refugees, occupying mountains and becoming kings, and falling grass as bandits. And often after a severe drought, there will be a major disaster. So, our Tang family just needs to wait silently for the opportunity. After Tang Huiping thought for a while, he asked again, the time. When will the time come? Tang Qian stood up silently, with his hands behind his back. After taking a few steps out of the room, he whispered, it's hard to say, it's hard to say. After the words fell, Tang Qian, the ancestor of the Tang family with white hair, appeared. Then he suddenly disappeared from Tang Huiping's sight, and after this exchange with his ancestors, Tang Huiping's mood seemed to be much calmer at this time. My mind is much clearer now. There is indeed some truth to what the ancestors said. The current situation is quite favorable for the Tang family. Even if the Tang family does nothing and just waits silently, they can easily dominate other forces. That being the case, What does Tang wiping have to be anxious about? This is the opportunity that our ancestors said, when will it come? Regarding this point, Tang wiping was a little confused, as the Tang family gradually returned to calm, Huaishui County, on this huge land, then he became calmer and calmer. Several forces have chosen to focus on development. It seems that they have all discovered that it is better to develop peacefully instead of fighting each other pointlessly, even in Huaishui County. The level of peace and tranquility has been restored to the state before the troubled times. If it weren't for Huaishui County, there would still be countless refugees walking aimlessly on this land. Maybe some people really feel that the troubled times here are over. The time for peaceful development always passes quickly. In the blink of an eye, several days passed. Qingshan town, the land of the Luo family, in a small courtyard exuding a quaint atmosphere. At this time, Luo Qingshan was standing silently next to a second-hand furnace cauldron with extremely high temperature and burning flames underneath. Are you going to fail again? Luo Qingshan looked at the furnace, whose temperature seemed to be gradually losing control. He looked at the lid that was trembling slightly. He couldn't help but frown slightly. Counting this time, the number of failures should have reached 100, right? In recent days, he has been studying pills that have extremely low or even no side effects and are specially used to improve cultivation. However, I don't know if it's because of poor talent or something else. He used that second-hand cauldron to refine elixirs, but always failed. Now as the number of failures gradually increases, Luo Qingshan's emotions have become somewhat numb. Try again. Luo Qingshan waved his hand and dispersed the hot flames burning under the second-hand furnace. Then, he used his skinny right hand wrapped with qi and blood, opened the lid of the extremely hot furnace. Boom! In an instant, a burst of scorching heat came oncoming. Fortunately, Luo Qingshan was well prepared. As a result, he was not burned by the hot breath or anything. I want to continue making alchemy. It is necessary to deal with the residue left over from the previous batch of elixirs. Fortunately, this step is not too complicated. Just use the power of qi and blood a little to clear away the residue in the furnace. After removing the residue and allowing the furnace to cool down, what needs to be done next is to burn the hot flame again under the second-hand furnace. Let this second-hand furnace heat up again, until the temperature of the furnace reaches the temperature required for alchemy. Then Luo Qingshan could throw various precious medicinal materials into the second-hand cauldron one by one. I don't know if it's because I failed 100 times or what. This is the 101st alchemy. The success surprised Luo Qingshan. At this time, all the precious medicinal materials had been turned into liquid medicine. The fusion between the medicinal liquid and the medicinal liquid is also extremely smooth. Next, add more fire. Luo Qingshan thought like this in his heart, and then he circulated the power of qi and blood in his body and poured it into the flames under the cauldron. The flames were mixed with the power of qi and blood, and the temperature of the furnace suddenly rose to a higher level again. The next step is to collect the juice and turn it into a pill. After whispering in a low voice, Luo Qingshan closed the lid of the furnace. After that, all he needed to do was wait silently, wait for the medicinal liquid to gradually dry up and solidify into thumb-sized shapes. The elixir is considered finished. In the courtyard, Luo Qingshan was standing silently beside a second-hand furnace, waiting silently. As time flows, after bursts of red fragrance filled the air. This 101st alchemy was finally successful. It's done. Luo Qingshan looked at the second-hand furnace cauldron in front of him, and he couldn't help but feel a little surprised. He had some doubts, but he didn't expect that this batch of elixirs would actually work. Next, he opened the tightly covered lid of the furnace. Waves of medicinal fragrance hit your nostrils. At the bottom of the furnace cauldron, there are now 8 medium-grade mundane pills, dark in color, about the size of a thumb, lying silently there. That's right, the name of the elixir is called Jingjingdan. This kind of elixir is specially used to break through bottlenecks and break through realms. Eating one will instantly give you the qualification to break through the realm, and it can also increase your probability of breaking through the realm. However, it is often like this kind of elixir that can break the rules and common sense, allowing people to quickly break through the cultivation level or break the bottleneck of the realm. It also often has significant side effects. Luo Qingshan's alchemy skills are already very good compared with other ordinary alchemists. Therefore, the side effects of these 8 realm-breaking pills, it will only make you weak for about 10 days or half a month after taking it. It's a first-level mortal medium. It shouldn't be a big problem if it's used by that guy Luo Yong, right? Thinking of this, Luo Qingshan waved his hand. then, an old servant wearing grey clothes and whose cultivation was in the realm of bone refining perfection appeared. He suddenly appeared in Luo Qingshan's courtyard. "Go and ask that guy from Luoyong to come to my place." Luo Qingshan ordered in a low voice. After hearing this, the grey-clothed servant, he nodded slightly and quickly disappeared into the courtyard. "Ancestor Qingshan, do you want to see me?" Not long after, Luo Yong came to the yard where Luo Qingshan was. "How long has your cultivation been stuck in bone refining?" Under the stone pavilion, Luo Qingshan glanced at Luo Yong beside him, and asked in a low voice. "About 10 years, Luo Yong thought for a moment and answered somewhat uncertainly. "Do you want to break through in cultivation? Do you want to reach the realm of organ refining, which is higher than bone refining?" Hearing the words of Patriarch Qingshan, Luo Yong nodded repeatedly and said with longing in his eyes, "Yes, of course I do, even in my dreams." "Since you want to, then take this realm-breaking pill. Then, regulate your own qi and blood. Whether you can break through the internal refining in the future depends entirely on you." Luo Qingshan quite casually poured out a broken mirror pill about the size of his thumb from the porcelain bottle. He threw it directly in front of Luo Yong. Luo Yong subconsciously took the pill. He gritted his teeth, hesitated for a moment, and then stuffed the broken mirror pill, which was only about the size of his thumb, into his mouth. The elixir melted immediately in the mouth, and a terrifying medicinal power appeared in Luo Yong's body. When it comes to elixirs, the higher the grade, the better it will be. Even if it was just a first-level mortal medium-grade mirror-breaking pill, the power it could bring to Luo Yong after taking it was enough to be called terrifying. After taking the elixir, Luo Yong found an open space and sat cross-legged. In just an instant, his face turned red, the veins on his body were exposed to the air in a ferocious way. The flow rate of blood in his body is constantly accelerating with the passage of time. The body temperature is also constantly rising. Painful, very painful. Luo Yong felt that life was worse than death for a moment. It was as if there were countless worms inside his body, constantly biting his flesh and blood. The consciousness in his mind was also talking to him every moment. Give up. After giving up, it won't be so painful anymore. After you give up, everything will become beautiful again. Anyway, I have been stuck in the realm of perfecting bone refining for more than 10 years. Even if it remains stuck for a few more years, so what? Endless temptations kept rising in Luo Yong's mind. However, no matter what kind of temptation you face, Luo Yong, however, just gritted his teeth. Even though his teeth squeaked a little blood gradually oozed from his mouth. He still did not give up this opportunity for a breakthrough in cultivation. Finally, another half-hour passed. The effect of the elixir in Luo Yong's body gradually turned into Luo Yong's own power. Within his body, there was a cultivation bottleneck that had been plaguing him. At this moment, it was finally completely broken. At this moment, Luo Yong's cultivation also completed the transformation from the perfection of bone refining to the early stage of organ refining. Done. Luo Qingshan looked at Luo Yong, who had a slight smile on his lips but had already fainted on the ground. He couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. This guy is pretty good, although I couldn't hold on in the end and fainted, but at least, this cultivation level was a successful breakthrough. I just don't know how long he will be weak after taking this mirror-breaking pill. After asking people to move Luo Yong out of the courtyard, Luo Qingshan then started refining the mirror-breaking pill for the 102nd time. However, it seems that his luck has run out. The 102nd attempt to refine the mirror-breaking pill failed again. This made Luo Qingshan have to doubt again how bad his alchemy talent was. Of course, these are some things that Luo Qingshan doesn't know about alchemy. If he knew about pills like broken mirror pill that were unreasonable and should not have appeared in the first place, its refining efficiency is already ridiculously low. If it succeeds once 100 times, it is considered a very good thing. Luo Qingshan's mood should be much better. Chapter 86 Chen Family. The Growing Buddhist Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, early morning, the sky is still gray and bright. When the air around you still has a slight earthy smell, Luo Yong had already arrived at the courtyard where his ancestor Qingshan lived. Woke up. Under the stone pavilion, Luo Qingshan was holding a book, Introduction to Alchemy. Glancing at Luo Yong beside him, he asked in a low voice. Ancestor Qingshan, I woke up about half an hour ago. Luo Qingshan nodded silently and asked in a low voice, how do you feel now? Luo Yong thought for a while and replied, except for being extremely weak and having some uncontrollable strength, everything else is fine. Is that so? Luo Changfeng heard Luo Yong's words and nodded again. Such symptoms were not much different from what he expected. There will always be some side effects if you take the mirror-breaking pill to break through your cultivation. But fortunately, you took the mirror-breaking pill. The side effects will only make you weak for 10 days and a half. It can be said that the rewards far outweigh the efforts. Okay, you will rest in the clan for half a month. After your strength recovers, you can return to the military camp. Hearing this, Luo Yong whispered, yes, Ancestor Changfeng. After a while, Luo Yong left. As Luo Yong's figure gradually disappeared from Luo Changfeng's sight. This courtyard exudes ancient charm. Luo Changfeng was the only one left. With the addition of one more Zang, the strength of our Luo family has soared. Luo Changfeng thought this in his heart. Among them, the most gratifying thing for him was, after having one more Zang refining, at least, if he leaves the Luo family land, the Luo family wouldn't be able to destroy the family just by encountering an enemy. This is the broken mirror pill. Can the success rate be slightly improved? It only succeeds about once 100 times. This success rate is a bit too low, right? The scene changes. Soon, they came to Huaishui County, where the Chen family has the deepest and most mysterious foundation. The Chen family's land is located in a county called Tongmu in Huaishui County. Tongmu County has a permanent population of nearly 1 million and a floating population of over 200,000. The level of prosperity is no worse than that of Tangjia City or Huaishui County where King Huaishui is located. In the past, the Chen family members were only located in the Chen family land, practice diligently, or deal with various things, but today's Chen family seems a little different from the past. When is it? At the main entrance of the Chen family, the current head of the Chen family, Chen Yisheng, was dressed in a grand robe. At this time, he had a silent face and his hands behind his back, waiting here silently. Master, it's already noon. Beside Chen Yisheng, an old servant bent slightly and responded in a low voice. Is it noon yet? Chen Yisheng raised his head slightly, looked at the scorching sun above his head, and felt the slightly scalding sunshine at this time. He couldn't help but narrowed his eyes slightly. A look of longing flashed through his eyes. Since it's already noon, why hasn't Wan Liang returned yet? Chen family land, at the main entrance, just as Chen Yisheng, the head of the Chen family, the longing in his heart gradually reached its peak. A young man dressed in Xing Yi who looked familiar yet unfamiliar at the same time, suddenly, he appeared in the sight of everyone in the Chen family. Came back. Until the young man reached the main entrance of the Chen family land, as the current head of the Chen family, Chen Yisheng asked in a low voice to his son Chen Wanliang, whom he had not seen for a long time. Well, I'm back. Chen Wanliang nodded slightly, and then casually threw the package behind him to the servant beside him. After that, he walked into the Chen family's grounds minding his own business. How has the situation been within the sect in recent years? Chen Yisheng looked at his son beside him and suddenly asked. Chen Wanliang nodded and replied, it's okay. Are you okay? When Chen Yisheng heard this, he glanced at the tired look hidden in his son's eyes and sighed slightly. However, he did not continue to ask further questions. The sect is a place for cultivating immortals. There are often immortals within the sect. The competition within the sect is often extremely fierce. Even if he is just a registered disciple, not everyone can be qualified, of course. Registered disciples of branch sects like the Wandan sect are naturally not counted. I haven't been home for several years, and there seems to be a lot of changes within the family. As Chen Wanliang walked into the Chen family's land, after looking around, he couldn't help but say aloud. It's not just the family that has changed a lot. Chen Yisheng looked at his son beside him. He pondered for a moment, organized his words, and then said, compared to our Chen family in Huaishui County, in recent years, the Dafeng dynasty has the changes are even greater, even when the old emperor falls and the new emperor ascends the throne. Some powerful princes return to their territories after the new emperor ascended the throne. Silently, compete with the new emperor in all aspects. Those powerful princes seem to be very dissatisfied with the old emperor's choice. Chen Wanliang nodded and whispered, this is expected. Although Chen Wanliang spent most of these years in seclusion within the sect and practiced hard, he was not ignorant of the affairs within the Gale dynasty. The Gale dynasty has suffered from drought for several years. Now the old emperor has died and a new emperor has ascended the throne. The chaos has become more and more intense. Our Huaishui County is located on the side of the Huaishui River and has sufficient water resources. It should be better than other places, right? It's better. Chen Yixing said and sighed, but if you think about it carefully, the situation in Huaishui County is actually not much better than other places. The king of Huai River, the Tang family, the grain merchants, and our Chen family. The battle between the three parties has already caused chaos in Huaishui County. In recent days, a Bluestone Zhenluo family suddenly emerged. It is said that the ancestor of the Qingshi Zhenluo family has broken through to the realm of internal refining and has successfully extended his time for 20 years. And at first glance, the Luo family doesn't seem like a good person to get along with. At this stage, although the forces in Huaishui County can temporarily live in peace. But I think it might not take long. The battles in Huaishui County will reappear. At that time, even if our Chen family wants to find stability and peace in this troubled world, it will be a little difficult. Following the words of Chen Yixing, the head of the Chen family, slowly echoed in the Chen family, the young master of the Chen family, Chen Wanliang, went out to seek immortality. At this time, he couldn't help but frown slightly. Qingshi town, Luo family. He had never heard of this force. Let's not talk about the Luo family. Chen Yixing shook his head and walked forward silently. As he walked, he whispered in his mouth, "There is something I think it is necessary to tell you in detail." Chen Wanliang asked, "What's the matter?" Chen Yixing sighed and said helplessly, "It's just those monks who come from nowhere. The monk in gray is refining the skin. The monk in white is refining the bones. These are not the most bizarre things, the really most bizarre things are. The clothes worn by those monks seem to have the effect of concealing their own aura. Sometimes, the monk in white approaches me, and I don't even notice. So, I've been thinking about it for a while. Should we take action against those monks? Should we suppress them a little? Those monks are developing at a terrifying speed." Monk? Chen Wanliang narrowed his eyes slightly, listening to his father's words. He always felt that they seemed familiar, as if he had heard them somewhere. After Chen Wanliang thought for a long time, he suddenly raised his head, a look of disbelief flashed through his eyes. "I remembered, those monks were extraordinary. The background is even more terrifying than the 5 mountains sect behind me. If we can avoid contact, it would be better not to have contact with those monks as much as possible." When Chen Yixing heard these words, he couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. However, if the current development speed of those monks is followed, I am afraid that in less than 3 years, the vast majority of people in the city will become believers in Buddhism. If that time comes, things will be in trouble. Chen Wanliang smiled and shook his head, and said in a low voice, "Father, don't worry, there will be tall people to hold up the sky if it falls. Those monks won't be able to dance for much longer." In the blink of an eye, several days passed. In these few days, the 4 forces in Huaishui County still coexist peacefully. No one will take the initiative to contact anyone easily. No one seemed willing to break the tranquility of this moment. Just such tranquility, it seems to have provided the best time and opportunity for the development of those monks. Amitba, good, good, good. This donor, are you willing to enter my Buddhist sect? Qingshi town, inner city, monk dressed in white clothes and a white hat, holding a string of white beads tightly in his hand. At this time, he suddenly appeared in the inner city. Most people chose to avoid this monk. But again, there is a small group of people. There was a hint of curiosity in the eyes of this white-robed monk. Although, the people in the inner city, not many people are willing to enter the so-called Buddhism yet, but as time goes by, as those bald donkeys continue to be brainwashed, the power of the monks in Qingshi town will definitely be like that snowball, growing bigger and bigger, until it comes to the point where it is completely unsolvable, seeing that not many people are willing to pay attention to themselves. After a while, the monk in white left silently. It seems to have gone to other places in the inner city, continue to promote his so-called Buddhism. it is located on a busy street in the inner city of Qingshan town, dressed in white clothes, with smooth and flowing silver hair. Luo Qingshan, with his hands behind his back, looked at the direction in which the monk was leaving. His eyes couldn't help but narrow slightly. A heavy look flashed across his eyes, as time went by. The monk's behavior seemed to become more and more excessive. From the first outer city, the first caution. Nowadays, the monks directly enter the inner city. Moreover, when he promoted the so-called Buddhism, he no longer avoided others and began to attract people openly and openly. Is this still possible? Forget it, let's have another look. If it really doesn't work, it won't be too late to take control at that time. You thought like this in his heart. After that, Luo Qingshan turned around silently and left the place. He quickly walked towards the direction of the Luo family's land. Although what happened with the monk made many people a little unhappy, but barely, it's still under control. In addition, the origins of those monks are really too mysterious, as well as the king of Huaishui, the Tang family, and the Chen family. It seems that they haven't taken action against those monks yet. Therefore, the Luo family did not choose to be the first to deal with the monks' problems. Master of the house, master of the house. Problem occurs. Qingshan town, the land of the Luo family. In the room where the head of the Luo family specializes in handling government affairs, Luo Ping was sitting quietly on the main seat as usual, dealing with the mountain of government affairs on the table. It's just that this hasn't been done much yet. A servant of the Luo family dressed in gray trotted into the room in a hurry. Why are you so panicked? Looking at the gray-clothed servant in front of him, Luo Ping couldn't help but frown slightly, and there was a hint of dissatisfaction on his face. How is it appropriate to be in such a panic? Besides, what other big things could happen in this 3/4 acre of land in Qingshan town? There is a father and daughter blocking the door outside the clan's territory. A lot of people have gathered nearby, blocking the door. Hearing this, Luo Ping stood up immediately. Why are you blocking the door? Is there a reason? Seems to be. It seems that Master Luo Yao wants the body of the woman outside the door. Now the woman is 3 months pregnant, but Master Luo Yao does not recognize the woman. The words of the servant in gray reached Luo Ping's ears quite clearly. As for Luo Ping, the current head of the Luo family, after hearing this, he couldn't help being a little stunned. Luo Yao. Starting from chaos and finally giving up. What's all this about? After sighing slightly, Luo Ping had no choice but to call his second brother Luoan. After all, this Luo Yao is Luoan's second son. As for Luoan's eldest son, he is Luoyang, who has been studying aphrodisiac pills all day long and wants to get rich by selling aphrodisiac pills. Master, why are you looking for me? After Luoan came to the room, he said impatiently, there are a lot of properties in the family waiting for him to deal with. He doesn't have that much free time. Please tell my second brother carefully. Luo Ping looked at the gray-clothed servant in front of him, and then whispered, and after the servant told Luo Yao's incident in quite detail, Luoan, who was standing silently in the room, gradually became more and more ugly, with bursts of anger burning in his eyes. This brat, let me break his legs. After saying that, Luoan turned his head and walked out of the room. Since the father and daughter outside the clan are telling the truth, the woman was also pregnant with Luo Yao's child, then, the father and daughter naturally have to deal with it properly. Today's Luo family can't even support 2 more people. Even if there are 2 more thousand or even 20,000 people, they can easily afford it. As for, what about Luo Yao? When Luoan sent people out to search, that brat is still looking for flowers and willows in the high-end spring tower, until Luo Yao was forced to return to the Luo family by the servants of the Luo family. This guy was still a little confused. Breaking a leg or something is of course a joke, but after a severe beating, you will definitely not be able to escape. So, after Luoan beat Luo Yao hard, Luo Yao then explained everything. Luoan originally thought that the existence of that father and daughter would be the limit, but what he didn't expect was, this brat actually has more than 10 wives and concubines in Qingshan town. Moreover, about a third of the wives and concubines among them were already pregnant with Luo Yao's child. As for the father and daughter, it was caused by Luo Yao's carelessness and failure to handle it properly. Otherwise, these things would not have been known to his father Luoan so easily. You boy are very capable. Have you raised more than 10 wives and concubines directly outside? Damn it, You and I are the only one. I'm not as cool as you. In the Luo family's land, in a room with a closed door, Luoan pointed at his son Luo Yao in front of him, he said with both anger and helplessness. Dad, what should we do next? Luo Yao asked cautiously. What should I do? Hearing this, Luoan couldn't help but get even more angry. You kid, you have the nerve to ask me what I should do? Of course I will take all your wives and concubines home. What's the point of raising it outside? Also, from now on, you can follow me to run the family business. Take care of your own women. Don't keep thinking about asking me for money. When Luo Yao heard these words, he couldn't help but look bitter, crying for his father and calling for his mother. Dad, no, you can't do this. You can't do this to me. Brother, isn't he always idle? Why are you staring at me and not at brother? You have the nerve to say this? Luoan glanced at his unsatisfactory son Luo Yao, who was kneeling on the ground with his trousers pulled down. He couldn't help but said coldly, although your eldest brother hasn't done anything serious, but his love for elixirs and his research on elixirs are all true. What about you? Besides looking for flowers and flowers all day long, what else can you do? Okay, this matter is settled. After saying that, Luoan pushed open the closed door and left the room. Of course, this means that Luoan doesn't know what pill Luoyang is researching. If he knew that his eldest son Luoyang spent all day researching some aphrodisiac pills, it is estimated that he will be so angry that his orifices will smoke. Chapter 87 Body Tempering Pill. Join the Immortal Cultivation Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the matter with Luo Yao is over, Qingshan family regained peace again. In addition to Luo Yao's courtyard, there were more than a dozen charming-looking wives and concubines. The huge Luo family is still as peaceful as before. In the blink of an eye, several days passed. During these few days, Luo Qingshan, the ancestor of the Luo family, almost all the time was invested in how to improve the success rate of refining the mirror-breaking pill. It's just that no matter how hard he tries, the results were still minimal. In desperation, Luo Qingshan could only choose to spend 200 blood points to increase his understanding of alchemy from 2 percentage points to 3 percentage points, and with Luo Qingshan's alchemy skills, he improved a lot again. The success rate of the mirror-breaking pill has also been significantly improved, that is, from the beginning, it could only be successful once 100 times, but now it can be successful once about 80 times, although this success rate is still somewhat pitifully low, but at least, the broken mirror pill is enough. The mortal-level mirror-breaking pill can make a monk in the realm of perfect bone refining qualified to break through the realm. Under such circumstances, even if you refine the mirror-breaking pill 80 times, you can only succeed once, but as Luo Qingshan refined, the number of mirror-breaking pills increased. The reserve quantity of broken mirror pill will always become more and more, as the number of reserves of broken mirror pill gradually increased. During these 3 days, Luo Qingshan gave one to the servant next to him who was in the perfection state of bone refining. Luo Qingshan tried to artificially create the third Zang refining realm monk of the Luo family. If it succeeds, the Luo family will have 3 Zang refiners. The Luo family's comprehensive strength will surely see another surge. However, it is a pity his plan to create the third Zang refining realm monk of the Luo family failed. I don't know if that servant's potential was completely squeezed out by the Epiphyllum pill, or for some other reason. Anyway, it ultimately failed. The price of failure is that the cultivation level of the servant who has reached the perfection of bone refining will always be fixed in the perfection of bone refining. There will no longer be a chance to successfully break through from bone refining to the early stage of organ refining. This can be considered a kind of helplessness. In the blink of an eye, another day passed. At this time, it was early morning, when the sky is not completely bright yet. Luo Qingshan, the ancestor of the Luo family, had quietly left the small courtyard where he lived. Alone, he walked towards the direction of the library. After this period of development, the collection of books in the Luo family library pavilion, the quantity and variety are nearly twice as much as before. Because it is a bit too early at this time, there were almost no people in the library, except for Luoyang, who stayed in the library all day long, flipping through introductory books on alchemy. and studying the method of refining aphrodisiac pills, Luo Qingshan would never see the rest of the Luo family again. Hey, wait a minute. Following Luo Qingshan, he entered the third floor of the library. He seemed to see another figure. This figure is somewhat familiar. Ancestor Qingshan. Luo Chuan is located on the third floor of the library, holding a book, Introduction to Formation, in his hand. After seeing the appearance of his ancestors, he couldn't help but put down the book in his hand slightly. He bowed his head respectfully to Luo Qingshan. It's actually this little guy Luo Chuan. Looking at the person in front of him, Luo Qingshan couldn't help feeling a little surprised. In his impression, this little guy Luo Chuan shouldn't stay in the library. Have you been studying formations recently? After looking at the book in Luo Chuan's hand with the 4 characters Introduction to Acupuncture engraved on it, Luo Qingshan couldn't help but ask. Yes. Luo Chuan nodded silently and whispered, suddenly I felt that the formation was interesting, so I took a look. However, the difficulty of this formation method seems to be a bit beyond my expectation. After studying for almost half a month, I'm still a little confused. Is that so? Luo Qingshan glanced at Luo Chuan again. After nodding, he left here. After staying in the library for about 2 or 3 hours, Luo Qingshan left with a book called Introduction to Weapon Refining. Whether it's alchemy, talisman making, weapon refining, or formations, every profession is very important. However, if it is necessary to classify the importance of these 4 professions, Luo Qingshan felt that alchemy was the most important, talisman making, weapon refining, and formations. These 3 professions are slightly inferior to alchemy. Of course, this is just Luo Qingshan's personal feeling. This does not mean that the 3 professions of making talismans, refining weapons, and forming formations are necessarily worse than refining alchemy. After bringing Introduction to Weapon Refining back to the courtyard, Luo Qingshan had no intention of directly using the power of qi and blood to add points. He wanted to see first whether his talent was good or bad as he was. Above the level of weapon refining, maybe his talent for refining weapons can be comparable to his talent for making talismans. Maybe he can save some energy and blood. It's just that the idea is good, the reality is extremely cruel. After studying for 3 whole days and 3 nights, let alone the talent for refining, he could not even get started with the process of refining. If you can't get started, you won't be qualified to add points to the weapon refining process. In desperation, Luo Qingshan could only temporarily give up the idea of studying the art of weapon refining, even though he really wants space-based spiritual treasures such as storage bags and storage rings. After no longer studying weapon refining, Luo Qingshan invested most of his time in alchemy. The mirror-breaking pill is just one of the many pills that improve your cultivation. In addition to the broken mirror pill, there is another pill called the body tempering pill. Body tempering pill, as the name suggests, it is specially used to temper the body. As the physical strength increases, one's own cultivation level will naturally increase accordingly. It is said that elixirs such as the body tempering pill are jealous of the heavens. Its refining difficulty is extremely high, even, it is much higher than that of broken mirror pill. In addition, after taking the body tempering pill, you will endure the ultimate pain in the world, so that you can gain some improvement in your cultivation. Therefore, Luo Qingshan has never begun to study the refining method of this kind of elixir. Nowadays, there is nothing to do anyway. It doesn't hurt to spend a little time researching it. Time is like a white horse passing by its knees. In a flash, several days passed. During these few days, Huaishui County remained calm and peaceful. Whether it is the king of Huaishui, the Tang family, the Chen family, or the Luo family, the 4 forces are all focusing on development. Plus, winter is winding down and spring is slowly approaching. The temperature outside has gradually become warmer. The next time is the best time to sow. Therefore, even if the 4 forces in Huaishui County want to fight, they will at least wait until the sowing is completed before starting the war. Qingshan Town, the land of the Luo family. In the room where the head of the Luo family is, at this time, Luo Ping was sitting quietly on the main seat, his head lowered, dealing with the mountain-like pile of various government affairs on the table. "How's it going?" After hearing footsteps outside the door, Luo Ping lowered his head and dealt with government affairs. He asked in a low voice to his son Luo Chuan in front of him, "Father, the planting is in progress. It can take as long as 7 days, or as short as 5 days, and the cultivated farmland will be successfully sown." Luo Qingshan was wearing a formal suit and he whispered, actually, if you can, he wanted to invest more time in studying the formation method, but, there is no way, who made him the young master of the Luo family? Who told him to be the next head of the Luo family? So, no matter what, he has to learn to deal with these things. Okay, since the sewing matters are going so smoothly, then you can step back. When Luo Qingshan heard this, he nodded silently and said, yes. After a while, Luo Qingshan left the room, while walking towards the outside of the clan, while thinking silently in his heart. In fact, since the capture of Huangqiu town, he felt that there were some problems with some of the systems in the family. What you should do as the head of the family, these are some of the most important things. He should be in charge of the general direction of the family, instead of being trapped in the Luo family land, dealing with various government affairs there all day long. Even those government affairs can really be dealt with in time, but a person's energy is always limited, and there will always be a day when it is used up. So, should I search for some talents for my father? Share some pressure for dad? Outside the Luo family, on the bustling street, the more Luo Qingshan thought like this, the more he felt that this was how things should be. But, where should I find this talent? Luo Qingshan couldn't help feeling a little confused for a moment. After wandering around the street with Luo Qingshan for a while, suddenly, his way forward was blocked by 3 people not far away. Seeing Luo Qingshan being stopped, several bone-refining realm servants were hiding behind Luo Qingshan. At this time, it suddenly appeared, he was looking at the 3 people blocking Luo Qingshan with a slightly cold expression. Who are you? Why are you blocking my way? Luo Qingshan first looked at the several bone-refining realm servants beside him, and then he asked the 3 people in front of him who were trembling slightly and looking slightly terrified. Brother Luo, it's really been a long time since we last met. A young man in purple clothes with a rather calm expression gradually walked out from behind the 3 people, silently looking at Luo Qingshan in front of him. The young man smiled slightly and whispered. Young master of the Hu family, Hu Min. Looking at the person in front of him, Luo Qingshan couldn't help but narrowed his eyes slightly. For some reason, the Hu Min in front of him was different from the Hu Min in his impression. It seems that they are already somewhat different from each other. Now he is no longer the young master of the Hu family. He is just an abandoned member of the Hu family. Hu Min said with a slightly bitter look on his face. Oh. Hearing this, Luo Qingshan couldn't help but feel a little interested. He hasn't paid much attention to the situation on the Hu family's side since the Hu family gave in. Now, no idea, the young master of the Hu family has been replaced directly. Interesting, even interesting. When Hu Min saw this, he didn't care about his face at all and told all the matter directly. After hearing these words, Luo Qingshan asked aloud, so, what do you want to do? It's impossible to intercept me for no reason, right? Hu Min took a deep breath and took 2 steps back slightly. He knelt down and said, I want to work for the Luo family. I want glory and wealth. I hope that when I see my father in the future, I will no longer be so humble. I want to make my father regret replacing the young master of the Hu family with someone else. Hu Min's words were very sincere. After finishing speaking, he pressed his head tightly to the ground. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. Hu Min's heartbeat gradually became faster and faster as time passed. A little nervousness gradually appeared in his eyes. Now, I can help him. Apart from the Luo family, there is no one else. As the young master of the Luo family, Luo Qingshan is the best person to achieve his goal. So, success or failure, it all depends on Luo Qingshan's attitude next. Interesting, really interesting. After being silent for a long time, Luo Qingshan couldn't help laughing. I can give you a chance, but whether you can grasp it or not depends entirely on you. After all, my Luo family doesn't accept all trash. After saying that, Luo Qingshan turned around silently, with the servants behind him, silently walked towards the Luo family. Why don't you follow? Seeing that Hu Min behind him seemed to be a little dazed, he couldn't help but remind him. Come on, come on. After Hu Min responded quickly, he followed Luo Qingshan closely. As for why Luo Qingshan wanted to take Hu Min under his command, there is only one reason. That is, Luo Qingshan felt that Hu Min and the Hu family were gradually standing on opposite sides. Isn't this a very interesting thing? The people who were abandoned by the Hu family became famous people under the Luo family. Interesting, very interesting. I just don't know what Hu Min's abilities are. If the ability is good, then that's it. but if it's just a straw bag, there's nothing you can do. Luo Chuan could only choose to send him back to the Hu family. In a flash, several days passed. In these few days, the Luo family's sowing went smoothly. It only took 5 days to sow seeds in all the cultivated farmland. Next, what needs to be done? Just take good care of those farmlands, then, wait for the moment of harvest. It's just that the sowing went smoothly for Luo Changfeng, who is located in the land of the Luo family. In recent days, his refining of the elixir has been somewhat unsatisfactory. The body tempering pill sounds simple, as if it can be made by just finding an alchemist, but in fact, the difficulty of refining this thing is ridiculously high. It is completely reasonable to say that this type of elixir is jealous of heaven. When refining alchemy, it seems as if there is always a big invisible hand constantly causing trouble for you. Whenever your alchemy rhythm is on the right track, or when you are about to succeed, that invisible big hand will make everything chaotic. Then, you are left with a mess to clean up. Under such circumstances, how could Luo Changfeng successfully refine the body tempering pill? However, not everything in the past few days has been bad. At least he successfully learned the art of weapon refining in his spare time. After getting started, he immediately used his health points to directly add points to himself. In an instant, the level of understanding of weapon refining increased from 0.01% to 2%. The energy and blood consumption of refining a weapon is not much different from that of refining an elixir. The first upgrade requires 50 points of energy and blood. The second upgrade costs 100 points. The third time, it is estimated that it will cost 200 points, although Luo Changfeng did not improve his understanding of the art of weapon refining for the third time. The things that need to be prepared in advance for refining weapons are actually more complicated than refining pills. You actually need the assistance of spiritual fire. Under the stone pavilion, Luo Changfeng was drinking tea and complaining in a low voice. You must know that spiritual fire is something you are born with. Their quantity can be said to be extremely rare. Of course, it is not impossible to use the beast fire born in some monster beasts, but even it is a beast fire that is one level lower than spiritual fire. The number may not be much greater than the spiritual fire. As for why it must be assisted by spiritual fire or animal fire, mainly because when refining a weapon, it is often necessary to raise the temperature in the furnace to a certain level. Only in this way can weapons be refined, and if you can't raise the temperature in the furnace to a certain level, you won't even be able to melt the materials for refining it, so how can you go about refining it? In addition to the problem of flame, the material for this weapon is also a problem. If you want to refine a storage ring or storage bag, you need a precious or called space stone. If you want to buy space stones, you need a certain number of spiritual stones. There are no more spiritual stones in the hands of the Luo family, except for the half of the spiritual stone that looked like it had been chewed by a dog. You said, half of it is like a broken spirit stone that a dog has chewed. How to buy that precious space stone? Even if Luo Changfeng can refine elixirs, he doesn't have any channels to sell them. Without a channel to sell elixirs, he couldn't get any spiritual stones. Without spiritual stones, you cannot buy space stones. As a result, this has become a knot that is difficult to untie. Spiritual stones are often controlled by forces that possess immortals. Otherwise, how about finding a force to join? Use my alchemy skills to earn some spiritual stones. The more he thought about it, the more reliable Luo Changfeng felt. He had to choose carefully which cultivating force he should join. Of course, if you can, joining the Wandan sect should be a good choice. I want to join the Immortal Cultivation sect. It is necessary to leave the family for a period of time, and if you need to leave the family for a while, next, he must deal with the follow-up matters well, otherwise, it would be an accident. When he left the family, the Luo family was ruined, so he couldn't cry to death. So, some preparation is necessary. He had to leave some trump cards to the Luo family. Luo Yong, who possesses the realm of Zang refining, is a trump card, and those more than 3,000 lightning strike talismans will become another trump card. In addition to these two trump cards, Luo Changfeng also planned to keep a third trump card. Presumably after having these three trump cards, Luo Changfeng no longer has any worries. Chapter 88 became the deputy sect leader, and also took away a low-level yellow-level practitioner. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 88 He became the deputy sect leader and also took away a low-grade yellow-level alchemy furnace. Wandan sect, this is Luo Qingshan's best choice, not just because his alchemy skills are pretty good. Another very important reason is that there are too many branches of Wandan Sect, not to mention anything else. Just within the city of Luoshan Prefecture, there is a branch of Wandan Sect. Therefore, when it comes to joining the Immortal Cultivation Sect, the first one Luo Qingshan wants to join is naturally the Wandan Sect. Before leaving Luo's house, Luo Qingshan prepared for several more days. Then he increased the number of lightning talismans to a full 5,000. After he prepared the third and most mysterious hole card, Luo Qingshan was alone and left the family silently. Of course, before leaving the family, he also transferred Luo Yong back to the family to take charge. I also talked about this matter in detail with that guy Luo Ping. As an ancestor, I want to leave the family, naturally. Some preparations need to be done appropriately and completely. Luoshan Mansion is one of the 13 mansions of the Dafeng dynasty. He owns 8 counties under his command. In the Gale dynasty, the area is neither large nor small, and can only be regarded as medium-sized. As for the prosperity of Luoshan Mansion, due to the relatively remote geographical location and the fact that there is a river called Huai River near Luoshan Mansion, therefore, Luoshan Prefecture is more prosperous than the 2 or 3 nearby prefectures. The lives of the common people were still barely manageable, of course. This is limited to the prefectures and counties within Luoshan Prefecture. What is the situation in some villages and towns? No one can guarantee this. After about a day and a night of driving, Luo Qingshan arrived at the city of Luoshan Mansion. What I have to say is that the size of Luoshan Prefecture's capital city is really shocking. The high and thick city wall, the pedestrians and merchants coming and going, all these things seem to touch Luo Qingshan's cognition. After entering the city of Luoshan Mansion, after a little inquiry, he learned the direction of the branch of Wandan Sect. And when he arrived outside the branch of Wandan Sect, you can see that there are a large number of practitioners wearing colorful clothes and looking slightly nervous. He was walking towards the Wandan Sect, which looked extremely powerful on the outside. If he was closer, Luo Qingshan could even hear it, the chat of those in fine clothes. Brother Zhao, how are you preparing? Are you confident that you can handle the entrance examination of the Wandan Sect? Hearing this, the man in yellow smiled confidently and said in a low voice, Brotherly, don't worry, I am fully prepared for this assessment of the Wandan Sect. Let me just say this time, I will definitely be able to stand out from the crowd. Successfully entered the Wandan Sect and became one of the registered disciples of the Wandan Sect. Luo Qingshan approached the 2 people and listened for a while. He stopped listening. Instead, he clasped his hands behind his back and walked towards the Wandan Sect in Luoshan Mansion. At the main entrance of Wandan Sect, 2 bone-refining realm monks guarding the door saw Luo Qingshan, who had silver hair and showed an air of immortality. He didn't take any action to stop him at will. You know, this is the Wandan Sect. And often for a profession as noble as an alchemist, the older you get, the more you have accumulated in alchemy. So, a lot of the time, often an old man who looks a bit ordinary is actually a master of alchemy. After following the crowd into the Wandan Sect, not long after, Luo Qingshan came to a large hall. At this time, there were already many people in the hall. Looking around, there are at least hundreds of furnace cauldrons placed in the hall. There seem to be a lot of alchemy materials placed near the furnace. Those materials seem to be some of the basic materials needed to refine the blood replenishing pill. Is it possible that all we need to do next is to refine the materials near the cauldron into blood-replenishing pills? After thinking about it, Luo Qingshan casually walked to a furnace cauldron, then he sat cross-legged and waited quietly, until the bells rang and someone announced from the high platform that the assessment had begun. Luo Qingshan stood up silently. He stretched out his hand and touched the cauldron in front of him. Old man, how old are you this year? Why do you look so unfamiliar? You must have never participated in the Wandan Sect assessment in Luoshan Mansion, right? I can recognize anyone who has taken the assessment. Just when Luo Qingshan was familiar with the cauldron in front of him, next to him was a man in light blue robes who seemed to be in his 30s and quite familiar. At this time, he couldn't help but smile and whisper to Luo Qingshan. In response, Luo Qingshan just glanced at the person next to him silently and did not say anything out loud. Old man, do you know the ingredients of these elixirs? Let me tell you this, these materials are used to refine the blood replenishing pill. Blood replenishing pill, do you know? It's a pill specially used to restore the power of qi and blood. The difficulty of refining is not too high. Probably one of the most basic elixirs. The familiar man saw that Luo Qingshan seemed to be ignoring him, so he continued to speak. So, you understand it very well, that the man next to me seemed to be talking endlessly. Luo Qingshan responded quite casually. This is natural. The familiar man straightened his collar with some confidence, and then he said with a faint smile, in the past 10 years, I have never failed in every assessment of the Wandan sect. However, due to lack of experience, I have never been selected by the Wandan sect to become one of the registered disciples of the Wandan sect. But this time, it's different. I'm definitely well prepared this time. This time, I will definitely stand out from the crowd and become the one chosen by the Wandan sect. As time flows, soon, the practitioners in the main hall began the first step of refining alchemy, the rather familiar man next to Luo Qingshan. At this time, the furnace in front of him also began to heat up, and with the furnace in front of him, the temperature increased to a certain level. The man who was quite familiar with the matter threw the blood-enhancing pill ingredients on the side of the furnace into the furnace one by one. Call. That should be enough. After completing the preliminary work, the man couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, but just when he was about to turn his head and see what step the old man next to him had taken, he suddenly froze. He was a little dumbfounded, the pupils in his wide eyes were shrinking slightly, just when he had just completed some preliminary preparations for alchemy. The old man next to him had already started collecting juice from the fire, as the power of qi and blood continued to be injected. The flames under the cauldron became more and more intense, the temperature of the furnace is increasing at an extremely fast speed, the old man's alchemy techniques gradually became faster and faster, and even some subtle operations made him confused, until the old man completed the refining of the blood-replenishing pill. The alchemy materials in the furnace in front of the man were completely blurred at this moment. Trenching. It's over, it's all over. The rather familiar man couldn't help but feel like crying. And after completing this series of alchemy operations, Luo Qingshan, silently he stepped forward and opened the lid of the furnace, smelling the fragrance of elixir gradually spreading out from the cauldron. Looking at the bottom of the cauldron, there were more than 20 blood-enhancing pills that were at the top level of the mortal world and lay quietly. He couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. Broken mirror pill, body tempering pill, that's all for these two difficult elixirs, but when refining a mere blood-replenishing pill, he could successfully refine it even with his eyes closed. After the alchemy is over, not long after, Luo Qingshan was respectfully taken to another palace by the people of Wandan sect. At this time, in this palace, there was a man with a slightly stooped figure, holding a cane. His face was wrinkled and his eyes were slightly squinted, an old man with cloudy eyes that could barely see clearly. He was standing there silently. It seems that he is waiting for Luo Qingshan's arrival. Well, if I guess correctly, this old guy should be waiting for him. Brother Luo, is that you? That he saw Luo Qingshan, who had silver hair, was thin, and had an air of immortality, as well as the Wandan sect disciples following behind Luo Qingshan. The old man couldn't help but suddenly opened his eyes. There were bursts of excitement in his eyes. Who are you? Luo Qingshan looked at the old man holding a cane in front of him, and he couldn't help but have a look of doubt on his face. By the way, let me introduce myself first. The old man's surname is Fu and his given name is Chiu. He is currently the head of the Wandan sect's Luoshan prefecture branch. Now he is at the level of an alchemist below the Huang level. Luo Qingshan frowned slightly. Then what? Then, I sincerely want to invite Brother Luo to become the deputy sect leader of our Luoshan Mansion branch of the Wandan sect. Of course, if Brother Luo is not satisfied, it's not impossible to give the position of sect leader to Brother Luo. When Luo Qingshan heard these words, his brows, which were already slightly frowning, couldn't help but frown even deeper. What do you mean? That he really didn't understand what the guy in front of him meant. He just wanted to join a cultivating sect, then get some spiritual stones to use. How did it get to this point? Why did you just give him the position of deputy sect leader? What do you mean? If you are not satisfied, the position of sect leader is fine. Brother Luo doesn't know that the competition within the Wandan sect is quite fierce. Don't look at this world, there are countless branches of Wandan sect. But if you want to get enough resources for your branch sect, it's no exaggeration to say it was a lot of hard work. There are 13 mansions in the Gale dynasty. Every city is equipped with a branch of the Wandan sect. The resource allocation of Wandan sect's branch sects all depends on the ranking of each Wandan sect's branch sections. The higher the ranking, the more resources will be allocated. With a low ranking, there are fewer resources that can be allocated. The main sect conducts a detailed and accurate ranking based on various aspects almost every year for the ranking of Wandan sect's branch sections. Last year, our Luoshan mansion was ranked 12th in the Dafeng dynasty. It's just a little bit close, and we're at the bottom. Such a situation makes me, the current head of the Luoshan mansion branch of the Wandan sect, feel very guilty. So, if Brother Luo is willing, it's not impossible to give up the position of the current sect leader of the Wandan sect's Luoshan prefecture branch to you. Fu Qiu's words continued to echo in this hall, after Luo Changfeng heard what Fu Qiu said. He couldn't help but fell into deep thought. He originally thought that the relationship between the Wandan sect's branch sect and the main sect was just a relationship provided by one person. Branch sects are responsible for searching for talents and then delivering them to the main sect. The main sect of the Wandan sect, to a certain extent, will help the branch sects complete some things, but who can imagine this? There are so many things going on between the branches of Wandan sect. Ranking assessment. Are there many resources with high rankings? There are fewer resources with lower rankings. Last year, Luoshan Mansion was ranked 12th among the 13 Wandan sect branches in the Gale dynasty. Damn, I almost ended up at the bottom. What a thing. Fu Qiu. After Luo Changfeng came to his senses, he silently glanced at Fu Qiu beside him, whose eyes were full of expectation. Hey, Brother Luo, say it. Fu Qiu held his crutch and quickly took a few steps in the direction of Luo Changfeng. Are you so sure that I can do it? To be honest, Luo Changfeng didn't have much confidence in himself. He didn't know why the Fu Qiu in front of him was so confident in himself. Brother Luo, although my ability in alchemy is not very good. But these eyes. But I have never seen the wrong person. Fu Qiu narrowed his eyes slightly and said with an extremely confident expression. Then, what if I join the Luoshan Mansion branch of the Wandan sect? What's the benefit? Benefits? After Fu Qiu thought for a moment, he whispered, does the offering of 10 low-grade spiritual stones every month count? I offer a certain amount of alchemy materials every month, does this count? Also, if you become a high-level member of our Luoshan Prefecture branch, you can get a 3 cubic meter storage bag that can maintain the storage space for a year without damage. Does this count? Besides, if there is any crisis, you can also pull the tiger skin of our Wandan sect. Does this count? Fu Qiu's words are extremely tempting. After Luo Changfeng heard this, he wanted to agree directly. However, with his sight, after being attracted by a furnace that seemed to be extremely extraordinary in the main hall, he was silent for a moment and couldn't help but ask. This cauldron looks pretty good. Fu Qiu saw that Luo Changfeng beside him was already moved. After gritting his teeth, he couldn't help but said, if Brother Luo is willing to join our Luoshan Mansion branch, I will give this cauldron to Brother Luo. Luo Changfeng asked in surprise, really? Of course it's true, no lies. Fu Qiu said with some distress. In the end, Luo Changfeng successfully joined the Luoshan Mansion branch of the Wandan sect. He became a deputy sect leader of this branch of Luoshan Prefecture. As for the position of sect leader, he didn't want it. After all, he couldn't stay in Luoshan Mansion forever. He will eventually return to the land of the Luo family. As for that furnace cauldron, its grade has already reached the level of the yellow level low grade. Transcending the realm of the mundane, spiritual weapons of this level are often only qualified to be used by immortals, and that Fu Qiu, who was in the late stage of Zang refining, had such a low-grade yellow-level spiritual weapon cauldron. The main reason is that this is the spiritual stone he has accumulated for several years before he bought it from the Wandan sect master. Now, if not for keeping Luo Changfeng, he was not willing to give away such a valuable furnace directly, after putting the furnace cauldron into the storage bag. which has a full 3 cubic meters of space and can maintain the space without damage for a year. Luo Qingshan then embarked on the road home. This time, it still took a full day and night. He returned to the Luo family and his small courtyard. When he returned to the small courtyard, he immediately took out the yellow-level low-grade furnace cauldron from the storage bag. After having such a yellow-level low-grade furnace cauldron, naturally, the low-grade furnace he bought at a cost of tens of thousands of taels of gold was of no use. Would you like to try it? Look at this yellow-level low-grade furnace cauldron. What kind of blessing will it have when refining alchemy? Thinking about this in my heart, after Luo Qingshan waved his hand, he took out some of the precious elixir from the storage bag. These elixirs are the materials used to refine the body tempering pill. He wanted to give it a try after changing to a higher-end furnace. Would it be helpful for me to refine such a difficult elixir as the body tempering pill? There is no flame such as spiritual fire or animal fire. In desperation, he could only choose to use the old method. A pile of wood was piled directly under the yellow-level low-grade furnace cauldron. Then, burn the wood. After that, he injected the power of qi and blood in his body into the burning flame below the furnace. Use the power of qi and blood to increase the burning degree of the flame. After that, you can slowly increase the temperature of this low-grade yellow-level furnace. It seems that the feel is much better. Luo Qingshan narrowed his eyes slightly and thought silently in his heart. However, it was only a moment later, he stopped being distracted. Instead, he directly threw the materials in his hand for refining the body tempering pill into the yellow-level low-grade furnace cauldron one by one in order. I don't know, it's his psychological effect. It was still the effect of my heart combined with the effect of this low-grade yellow-level alchemy furnace. Anyway, here we are now. Everything is still going very smoothly, although during this period, the invisible big hand would still appear, trying to disrupt his rhythm of refining the body tempering pill. However, it is under Luo Qingshan's absolute control. The refining of this furnace of body tempering pills is even in the middle or even late stages. It's still going on quite smoothly, until, finally, the flame went out and the elixir gradually solidified. This batch of body tempering pills turned out to be successful. Looking at the low-grade yellow-level cauldron in front of him, Luo Qingshan couldn't help but have a flash of surprise in his eyes. Chapter 89. You can earn spiritual stones from alchemy faster than from robbery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Usually the higher the grade of the alchemy furnace, the greater the blessing for alchemy. Proof.com. However, there was something Luo Qingshan didn't expect. This yellow-level low-grade furnace cauldron actually allowed him to successfully refine the body tempering pill for the first time. Surprise, really a bit of a surprise. Maybe I just have a little better luck this time. Thinking like this, after that, Luo Qingshan refined it a full 10 times. However, the next 10 times were not as smooth as the first time. Out of 10 times, only 2 were successful. In other words, with this low-grade yellow-level alchemy furnace, his success rate in refining body tempering pills has also increased to 1/5, although not that high. But at least I got by. He became the deputy sect leader of Wandan's sect Luoshan Mansion. After enjoying so many preferential treatment, naturally, he wanted to do something for the branch sect in Luoshan Mansion, and as an alchemist, all he needs to do is to refine some more elixirs, then, give these elixirs to the people in Luoshan Mansion for sale. This will improve the performance of the entire Luoshan Prefecture's elixir sales. As performance improves, naturally, the Luoshan Mansion branch's ranking within the Gale dynasty will slowly increase. The next day, early morning, the sky is not completely bright yet, the surrounding air still carries a slight earthy smell. Luo Qingshan called Luo Yong. After giving several bottles of body tempering pills that he had refined to Luo Yong, he let the Luo Yong guy leave. Now that he is back, Luo Yong has no need to continue to take charge of the family. As Luo Yong returned to the military camp, as time gradually passed, a scorching sun hung high in the sky above everyone's heads. Luo Qingshan then summoned Luo Yao again, that is, Luo and second son, a member of the Luo family who had hidden more than a dozen wives and concubines outside the Luo family's land. Chang, ancestor Qingshan. Are you looking for me? In the courtyard, Luo Yao saw Luo Qingshan, who was sitting quietly under the stone pavilion, holding a book on advanced alchemy that he took from the branch of Luoshan Mansion. He couldn't help but lower his head slightly. It seems that he is a little afraid of this mysterious ancestor of his family. Luo Yao. Luo Qingshan slowly put down the book in his hand. looked at Luo Yao beside him, and said calmly, "I heard that you had hidden more than 10 wives and concubines in Qingshan town." I know I was wrong. Luo Yao suddenly felt like crying. Before, because of this incident, he had already been severely scolded by his father. The result was unexpected. Now, the Changfeng patriarch of his family has come to find him again for this matter. "What's wrong with you?" Luo Changfeng saw that Luo Yao in front of him was a little worried. He couldn't help but smile and shook his head and said, "If a family wants to develop and grow, in addition to the strength at the top, the number of clan members is also very important. So, if you want to increase the number of clan members, this kind of thing is inevitable. This bottle of the world's best first-class blood replenishing pill is for you. If you do that kind of thing too much, your body will always be a little weak. Although the blood-building pill only replenishes qi and blood, it should have some effect in that regard. By the way, when taking this top-grade blood-replenishing elixir, remember to dilute it in water before drinking it. If something happens, don't come to me. As for the body-tempering pill, I won't give it to you. After taking the body-tempering pill, you will endure one of the most extreme pains in the world. With your temperament, you shouldn't be able to endure it. Also, if you are short of money, you can go directly to your father to ask for it. If your father doesn't give it to you, just say that I asked you to ask for it. Okay, please step back." After saying these words, he put a porcelain bottle containing 10 top-quality blood-replenishing pills into the hands of Luo Yao. Luo Changfeng ignored that guy. "I just looked at the book Advanced Alchemy in my hand again." Ancestor Changfeng. In the courtyard, Luo Yao thought he was going to be scolded again. At this time, I couldn't help but look at the ancestor in front of me with tears in my eyes, but after just a moment, he left the courtyard without disturbing his ancestor who was reading a book. Then Luo Yao turned around. After gradually disappearing into this courtyard, Luo Changfeng once again put down the book titled Advanced Alchemy in his hand. He narrowed his eyes slightly and looked in the direction where Luo Yao left with a calm expression. Whether it's Luo Chuan, Luo Qingshan, or Luoyang, or that Luo Yao, these people are all very good talents. At this stage, what Luo Changfeng likes most is the little guy Luo Yao. In order to expand the family, he spared no effort to sow seeds everywhere. There are even more than a dozen wives and concubines hidden outside Qingshan town. This little guy has a future. Definitely a future. As for the order to force the tribesmen to marry more wives and so on, it's not like Luo Changfeng hasn't thought about it. However, this kind of thing is always somewhat unrealistic. Everyone in the Luo family has a different personality. Not everyone is fond of crazy marriage and concubinage. Therefore, I had no choice but to let it go. A blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Qingshan town, the land of the Luo family, in the courtyard where Luo Changfeng lives. A Zang refining realm monk dressed in black. At this time, he was standing silently next to Luo Changfeng. After waving his hand, he took out 10 low-grade spiritual stones that were boxy in appearance, crystal clear, and even exuded bursts of spiritual energy. "Sir Deputy Sect Leader, this is your spiritual stone offering for this month." The monk in black lowered his head slightly and said with a rather respectful expression. "Very good." Luo Changfeng nodded silently and put the 10 low-grade spiritual stones into his storage bag. Then he waved again. Directly from the storage bag, I took out 10 bottles of body-tempering pills ranging from low-grade to top-grade. These 10 bottles of body-tempering pills were refined by me over the past few days. Take it and sell it. The black-clothed Lian Zang seemed a little surprised that Luo Changfeng could produce 10 bottles of body-tempering pills, but in the end he nodded and said, "Yes." Take away 10 bottles of body-tempering pills. The monk in the refining Zang realm who belonged to the Luoshan Mansion branch of the Wandan sect left. Regarding the sale of elixirs, there is one detail that has to be said. For the sale of elixirs, the branch of the Wandan sect will extract 2 levels of benefits, while the main Wandan sect will extract 3 levels of benefits. This is something that no one can avoid, even if you are the current head of the branch of Wandan sect. Therefore, after deducting the benefits of these 5 layers, those who refine the elixir can only obtain 5 levels of benefits. Is the 5th level income a little small? Do you think Wandan sect is a bit of a trap? In fact, even after deducting the 5 levels of benefits, the benefits that alchemists can obtain are still extremely good. after all, the Xuanhuan sect controls almost all channels for selling elixirs in the world. Moreover, the Xuanhuan sect is always able to sell the elixirs at the maximum price, so even if you only get 5 tiers of benefits. For the alchemists of the Xuanhuan sect, this is already a pretty good profit. After that, Luo Qingshan refined 3 furnaces of body-tempering pills, and after all 3 furnaces of body-tempering pills failed, Luo Qingshan was supposed to be in the military camp. At this time, Jing silently came to Luo Qingshan's courtyard alone. Ancestor Changfeng. Luo Qingshan's voice was slightly hoarse, his expression seemed to be slightly painful. Putting down the alchemy advancement in his hand, Luo Qingshan silently raised his head and looked in the direction of Luo Qingshan. His expression couldn't help but become a little solemn. Luo Qingshan's condition seemed to be becoming more and more abnormal, his eyes were slightly red, and waves of evil energy were exuding from his body involuntarily, even in Luo Qingshan's eyes. Above Luo Qingshan's head, there were faint waves of scarlet aura floating slowly. All of this is telling, the current condition of this little guy Luo Qingshan is not particularly good. Is the bone refining complete? Isn't it even close to Zang refining? The progress of this cultivation is really getting faster and faster. After pondering for a moment, Luo Qingshan asked aloud, "Have you eaten all the Jingxin pills?" "Not yet." Luo Qingshan shook his head. He gritted his teeth and said in a hoarse voice, "However, as the number of Jingxin pills taken increases, the effect of Jingxin pills seems to be gradually weakening. Until now, the effect of taking Jingxin Dan has been so weak that it can be ignored." Luo Qingshan couldn't help but became a little silent. Is the effect getting weaker and weaker? That the most terrible thing happened after all. Before, Luo Qingshan was most afraid, it is this Jingxin pill, or the effect of the red flame pill that will gradually weaken as time goes by, until the effect is so weak that it can be ignored. As a result, there is nothing going on with Luo Yue, the little girl, but Luo Qingshan is the first to have a problem. During this time, you will stay here with me, meditate, and be quiet. Your cultivation has improved too quickly. The endless killing not only accelerates your improvement in cultivation, but also plants a seed of killing in your heart. If you continue like this, I'm afraid you won't be you anymore. After saying that, Luo Qingshan looked at Luo Qingshan, who was faintly exuding scarlet aura above his head, then he shook his head helplessly and sighed. In a blink of an eye, it was late at night. The top-level meditation pill has no effect. Next, if you want to continue to suppress the murderous intention in Luo Qingshan's heart, then you need to refine a higher-level Jingxin pill for him to take. For alchemy, if you are above ordinary people, you will be at the yellow level. Elixirs are called elixirs that transcend the ordinary world. Often only immortals who have transcended the mortal world are eligible to take it, and the reason why it is said that the elixir is above the ordinary world is the elixir that transcends the ordinary world. The main reason is that if you want to refine an elixir that is above the ordinary level, you need to continuously transfer spiritual power into the elixir during the refining process. As for the practitioners themselves, if they want to gain spiritual power, then, it is necessary to succeed beyond the ordinary. Only when you reach the fairyland above the 5 ordinary realms. Of course, there are no shortcuts to this. If you can obtain spiritual stones, you can use the power of spiritual stones to refine extraordinary spiritual elixirs. It's just that under normal circumstances, monks in the 5 mortal realms want to obtain spiritual stones that contain spiritual power. This is not a simple matter. The amount of spiritual power contained in a low-grade spiritual stone, often it can only provide 1 furnace of refining yellow-level low-grade elixirs. Therefore, if Luo Qingshan wanted to refine a low-grade yellow-level Jingxin pill, he only has 10 chances. Just give it a try. With this thought in his mind, he then walked silently to the yellow-level low-grade alchemy furnace, make a fire and heat it up. After a series of preliminary preparations are completed, Luo Qingshan waved his hand and threw some precious elixirs in the storage bag into the alchemy furnace. What is worth mentioning here is that you want to refine a low-grade yellow-level elixir. The best choice of materials is to use low-grade yellow-level elixirs. However, the quantity and preciousness of elixirs like low-grade yellow-grade elixirs often far exceed those of ordinary alchemy materials. Therefore, even though he became the deputy sect leader of the Luoshan Mansion branch of the Xuanhuan sect, there are not many elixirs of this grade on his body. It was the first time to refine the yellow-level low-grade Jingxin pill. Luo Qingshan spent about 10 minutes. Ultimately, He failed, the second time, to refine the yellow level low grade Jingxin pill. It took him about half an hour. In the end, it still failed. The third and fourth times all failed, until Luo Qingshan came to refine the yellow level low grade Jingxin pill for the fifth time. Finally, he succeeded. Luo family land. In the courtyard, with a little excitement in his heart, Luo Qingshan opened the lid on the alchemy furnace. A burst of extremely rich and refreshing fragrance. Then it slowly penetrated into his nasal cavity. Is this a magical elixir that transcends the ordinary world and reaches the lower grade yellow level? Luo Qingshan looked at the 3 low-grade yellow-level Jingxin pills lying quietly at the bottom of the alchemy furnace. In an instant, a lot of the joy in his heart dissipated, because at the bottom of the alchemy furnace, there were only 3 yellow-level low-grade Jingxin pills lying on it. Luo Qingshan had some knowledge of the value of each grade of elixirs. The lower-grade elixirs were almost as expensive as Chinese cabbage. 1,000 low-grade elixirs can be sold for the price of 1 low-grade spiritual stone. The Xuanhuan sect has already tried its best, a mundane first-level elixir that is above the ordinary level, although its price is much higher than that of the inferior ones, but it's still not very valuable. About 10 pills of the highest quality, it can be sold for the price of a low-grade spiritual stone. Moreover, this is before the benefits are withdrawn. If 50% of the benefits are withdrawn by the Xuanhuan sect, what can be obtained is only half a low-grade spiritual stone. If the price of the materials is deducted, alchemists often can only earn a hard-earned amount of money. As for the yellow level above the ordinary, starting from this level, the elixir will become more valuable. A low-grade yellow pill, its value is about 5 low-grade spiritual stones. Even after the Xuanhuan sect takes a cut, you can still get 2.5 low-grade spiritual stones, even if you deduct some costs. Alchemists can also earn a lot, just like the 3 Jingxin pills in Luo Qingshan's hand. Excluding the commission from the Xuanhuan sect, you can earn about 7.5 low-grade spiritual stones. Even after deducting the cost and the few times Luo Qingshan failed, he still made a profit. There are not many spiritual stones that can be earned. There were some hands-on skills before, but the success rate should be improved a lot in the future. Thinking silently in his heart, Luo Qingshan then started refining the low-grade Huang-level Jingxin pill. At the beginning, Luo Qingshan refined it 5 times before he succeeded once. In the next 5 times, he succeeded twice. Among them, the 3 failures. Once upon a time, you were just 1 step away from success. Moreover, within the 2 successful times, one time, 5 Jingxin pills were produced, and another time, a full 7 Jingxin pills were directly produced. 5, plus 7, plus the first 3, in other words, he obtained a total of 15 yellow-level low-grade Jingxin pills. If all 15 yellow-level low-grade Jingxin pills were sold to the Xuanhuan sect, he would be able to obtain a total of 37.5 low-grade spiritual stones. Of course, this is after taking a commission. Even if the cost of 10 low-grade spirit stones and the cost of materials for about 5 low-grade spirit stones are deducted here, he was still able to gain 22.5 low-grade spiritual stones. It didn't take long for him to double the number of spirit stones. It's no wonder that special occupations such as alchemy and weapon refining can make money faster than robbing money. He left 5 yellow-level low-grade Jingxin pills for the little guy Luo Qingshan in case of emergency. Luo Qingshan handed over the extra 10 yellow-level low-grade Jingxin pills to the Luoshan Mansion branch for disposal, because Luo Qingshan's identity is the deputy sect leader of the Luoshan Mansion branch of the Xuanhuan sect. Therefore, he does not need to wait for the elixir to be sold. You can directly take out your own 25 low-grade spiritual stones from the spiritual stone reserves of the Luoshan Mansion branch. After that, he used 5 of the low-grade spiritual stones to buy 10 materials for the yellow-grade low-grade Jingxin pill. Originally, he wanted to purchase a larger quantity, but the Luoshan Prefecture branch had only so many ingredients for the low-grade yellow-level Jingxin pill. Therefore, Luo Qingshan could only buy 10 copies and use them first. A low-grade Huang-level meditation pill. It is truly an extraordinary elixir. After giving one to that little guy Luo Qingshan, the bursts of scarlet aura above his head gradually disappeared. There was a blood-red color in the little guy's eyes. After taking the yellow-level low-grade Jingxin pill, as time goes by, it is slowly weakening until it completely disappears. How do you feel now? Under the stone pavilion, Luo Qingshan drank hot tea and asked in a low voice to Luo Qingshan, who was also under the stone pavilion in front of him. My heart seems to be gradually returning to calm. The distracting thoughts in my mind seem to be gradually dissipating. So quiet, Luo Qingshan closed his eyes silently and said with a smile on his face. As long as it works. Luo Changfeng nodded silently, and then said, however, during this period, you should stay with me and empty your heart as much as possible. Whenever you feel you can control your heart, you can leave. The meditation pill only has a suppressive effect after all. If you don't control it well, everything will go back to where it started. Luo Qingshan nodded silently and said, yes. Chapter 90 Luo Qingshan breaks through, the third person in the Luo family refining internal organs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A blink of an eye, another day passed. Qingshan town, the land of the Luo family, is in a courtyard that exudes a quaint atmosphere. Luo Changfeng, the ancestor of the Luo family, at this time, he was sitting quietly under a stone pavilion. He was holding a list of the internal commodity transactions of the Wandan sect and was slowly flipping through it. Spirit fire. Beast fire. Various precious and rare elixirs. A storage ring with 100 cubic meters of space that can remain stable and undamaged for 100 years. Damn it. There are actually slaves in the mortal realm in this Wandan sect's internal transaction list. Both male slaves and female slaves can choose at will. Under the stone pavilion, the more Luo Changfeng looked, the more frightened he became. Just spiritual fire, animal fire, and all kinds of precious and rare elixirs. After all, the vast majority of people in the Wandan sect are alchemists. It is normal for an organization composed of alchemists to sell some spiritual fires and elixirs internally. But what does the slave behind mean? Can both men and women choose? Are you sure this is the Wandan sect and not some organization like a brothel? After casually flipping through the list in his hand, Luo Changfeng turned to the catalog about spiritual fire, animal fire, and other types of strange fires. Spiritual fire, earth level top grade Vulcan fire. Remaining, 1 copy. Price, 10,000 top quality spiritual stones. Introduction, a spiritual fire naturally born in the 10,000 years volcano. It has a violent personality like a volcano. If it is used in battle, it can explode with extremely terrifying lethality. Beast fire, Xian level top grade rhinoceros heart flame. Remaining, 3 copies. Price, 100 top quality spiritual stones. Introduction, a handful of flames burning in Huang Yanqi's heart. The flames are relatively docile and easy to tame. They are good for refining elixirs or refining weapons. Addition. Beast fire, yellow level low grade black crow flame. Remaining, 99 copies. Selling price, 10,000 low grade spiritual stones. Introduction, the flame is taken from the body of the fairy beast black crow. This variety belongs exclusively to the Wandan sect and is the most common among the alchemists of the Wandan sect. A kind of flame. Tips, 1 top-grade spiritual stone equals 100 high-grade spiritual stones equals 10,000 medium-grade spiritual stones equals 1 million low-grade spiritual stones. Look at the 3 flames in front of you. Then he looked at the different prices of the 3 flames in front of him. Luo Changfeng put down the list in his hand helplessly. Then, he sighed silently, not to mention the high-grade earth-level volcano flames and the high-grade Xian-level rhinoceros heart flames, just the black crow flame, which is unique to the Wandan sect and is the most common, is not something Luo Changfeng can afford now. 10,000 low-grade spiritual stones. That's 100 medium-grade spiritual stones. A high-grade spiritual stone. If I work a little harder every day and earn 100 or so low-grade spiritual stones, it will take about 100 days. This time is really long. Of course, this period did not include whether Luo Changfeng could earn 100 low-grade spiritual stones in one day, and during this period, can he continue to improve his alchemy skills. Then refine elixirs that are higher grade and more profitable. Under the stone pavilion, as Luo Changfeng put the list into his storage bag, he turned his head silently again. Facing beside him, he sat cross-legged in an open space with his eyes tightly closed. Luo Qingshan, who didn't know whether he was meditating or sleeping, looked over. After a day passed, the scarlet aura above the little guy's head should have dissipated. At this moment, something spread out, it just floated slowly above the little guy's head, but fortunately, the intensity of the scarlet aura was not as terrifying as before. I don't know if that little guy can control his heart. After thinking about it, Luo Qingshan shook his head. After that, he stopped paying attention to Luo Qingshan beside him. Children and grandchildren will have their own blessings. As the ancestor of the Luo family, everything that can be done has been done. What will happen next depends entirely on Luo Qingshan. Time passes quickly, in the blink of an eye. About half a month passed. Within this half-month period, Huaishui County is still extremely peaceful. All the major forces are focusing on development and planting a new round of crops. Located in Qingshan town, Luo Qingshan within the Luo family. During this half-month, he was frantically refining the elixir. Almost every day, he maintained the progress of earning 100 low-grade spiritual stones. If possible, he wouldn't want to work so hard, however. The temptation of the black crow flame is too great for an alchemist. In this half-month, he was dedicated to the black crow flame. I also went to the black market for those who practice to learn more. He discovered that Black Crow Yen, who only sold 10,000 low-grade spiritual stones in the Xuanhuan sect, was able to sell a full 100,000 low-grade spiritual stones at a sky-high price on the black market. Damn it, the direct price is more than 10 times higher than that within the Xuanhuan sect, and most of the time, this black crow flame is priceless. From this point of view, Luo Qingshan had to sigh in his heart that the Xuanhuan sect was relatively tolerant of its own people. Although, Luo Qingshan felt a little distressed as he took a cut of the 5-level profit from selling the elixir, but there is nothing we can do about it. The Xuanhuan sect wants to develop and continue to operate. It's impossible to keep a bunch of alchemists all the time, and then give out a lot of offerings to the alchemists, but get no profit, right? If that were the case, wouldn't the Xuanhuan sect become a charity? In the blink of an eye, another day passed. Qingshan town, the land of the Luo family. In the courtyard where the ancestors of the Luo family lived, Luo Qingshan was currently standing next to a yellow-level low-grade alchemy furnace, constantly circulating the power of qi and blood in the body, injecting it into the bottom of this yellow-level low-grade alchemy furnace. It's done. After whispering in a low voice, Luo Qingshan then stretched out his skinny right hand. He opened the lid of the yellow-level low-grade furnace cauldron. The moment he opened the lid, bursts of hot and refreshing danxian came towards Luo Qingshan. 11 low-grade yellow-level spirit-boosting pills. Not bad, not bad. The output of this furnace of yellow-level low-grade spirit-boosting pills is definitely the largest among all the spirit-boosting pills that have been refined recently. Luo Qingshan looked at the 11 low-grade yellow-level spirit-boosting pills lying in front of him at the bottom of the alchemy furnace. He nodded with satisfaction. Wuling Dan, as the name suggests, it is specially used to replenish and restore the spiritual power consumed by those cultivators in the fairyland who have transformed from the mortal world. Its effect is somewhat similar to that of the blood-building pill. But one is used to restore the power of qi and blood, and the other is used to restore spiritual power. After putting the 11 soul-boosting pills produced in the yellow-level low-grade furnace cauldron into porcelain bottles, Luo Qingshan couldn't help but raise his head slightly. He looked out of the courtyard with a slightly complicated expression. In the past half-month, although Huaishui County was still extremely peaceful, however, within the Gale dynasty, the struggle between many forces gradually became more and more intense, and, as winter passes, after spring gradually arrives, between heaven and earth, the climate is gradually getting hotter. Whenever the time comes to noon, a scorching sun hangs high in the sky. The temperature outside will be as unbearable as staying by the stove. The situation in Huaishui County is barely better. After all, there is a Huai River near Huai River County. The water requirements of crops are barely met. However, it is located outside Huaishui County. Some of the land is inherently dry. After experiencing this hot weather, the land couldn't help but become drier. When the land dries out, crops will gradually wither, until the final death, and with the massive death of crops, in the Gale dynasty, countless people will become refugees, or occupy the mountains and become the king, and fall into the grass and become the bandits, or they were directly inspired by some well-intentioned people, and they became the rebel army that wanted to overthrow the officials in various places, of course, those at the official level. I still prefer to call this type of people unruly people and a mob that wants to rebel. In the blink of an eye, half a month has passed. How do you feel now? That looking outside the courtyard, Luo Qingshan was silent for a moment. He withdrew his gaze again, facing beside him. He sat quietly under the stone pavilion. Luo Qingshan, who was silently drinking hot tea while looking at the skill's secret book in his hand, asked in a low voice. Fine. Luo Qingshan put down the book in his hand and drank the tea in one gulp. He turned his head and said respectfully to Luo Qingshan, after being away from the killing, I feel that everything in the world is much calmer, but... As he spoke, Luo Qingshan couldn't help but hesitate. But it seems that my cultivation is about to reach a breakthrough. I have been doing my best to suppress it these days. However, the effect does not seem to be very good. The corners of Luo Qingshan's eyes twitched slightly, and he said helplessly, Are you going to break through the cultivation level again? That I think Luo Qingshan has practiced for so many years with his own qualifications, nor can he improve his cultivation level from the realm of bone refining to that of viscera refining. Later, when he was about to die, by luck, I activated a golden finger, and finally by adding points, my cultivation level was upgraded from the realm of bone refining to the realm of organ refining. It lasted for 20 years for myself, live a new life again. However, what I didn't expect was that, Luo Qingshan, this kid, spends the whole day either drinking tea in the courtyard or meditating. As a result, his cultivation level kept rising. This is so meowing, it's almost going to make you suffer. Tell me, is this kind of thing reasonable? This kind of thing is naturally unreasonable. Fortunately, this little guy seems to have suffered the jealousy of the world because of his incredible talent. As a result, if he is not careful, he may become a machine dominated by killing. Well, if it weren't for him, Luo Qingshan, this little guy Luo Qingshan should have become a cold machine dominated by killing. If you really want to achieve a breakthrough in cultivation anytime, let me know. I will protect you when the time comes. However, after this period of calmness, there shouldn't be any surprises if you want to break through the Zang refining process. After saying that, Luo Qingshan continued his work today, which was frantically refining alchemy. In half a month, he had accumulated a total of more than 1,000 low-grade spiritual stones. If he wanted to buy the low-grade yellow-level black crow flame, he still had a long way to go. In a blink of an eye, the time came to noon. At this time, a scorching sun hung high in the sky. The venomous sunshine shone on this land. The temperature outside is particularly hot. According to some practitioners, it's not bad. After all, his physical fitness is much better than that of ordinary people. Even if you really can't bear it, you can still use the power of qi and blood a little. Cover your body with the power of qi and blood. In this way, the irritating feeling of heat can be reduced. But if you are an ordinary person, this poisonous sunshine is definitely a disaster for ordinary people. Outside Qingsha town, there are reclaimed farmlands. At this time, Luo Chuan, who is the young master of the Luo family, he is standing here silently, and behind him was Hu Min, the former young master of the Hu family. Then he stood behind Luo Chuan without saying a word. This sunshine seems to be getting hotter as time goes by. It's even so hot that some ordinary people can't bear it. After a moment of silence, Luo Chuan took the lead in breaking the silence. He seemed to be talking to himself, and also seemed to be whispering to Hu Min behind him, who had just been recruited to his subordinates not long ago. Young master, the water level of Huai River. It seems to have started to decline as well. Although, the decline is not a lot. But if the water level continues to decline at this level, the Huai River on the edge of Huai River County will most likely face the problem of drying up. Hu Min said with a calm expression. The drop in the water level of the Huai River is indeed an early warning. Luo Chuan nodded silently, but said with a somewhat helpless expression, however, often like this natural disaster, if you want to solve it, it's extremely difficult. On the edge of farmland, Luo Chuan and Hu Min were walking and talking. After half a month of inspection, this is Hu Min, the former young master of the Hu family. But he does have some ability, although this guy doesn't know much about military matters, but if it comes to domestic affairs, this guy can more or less say something. Therefore, when there are no awesome people under his command for the time being, Luo Chuan could only take him with him to share some of the pressure with him. What is that? But just as Luo Chuan kept walking forward, suddenly, his brows couldn't help but frown slightly. Just at his feet, in a piece of farmland, he seemed to see something flashing past his eyes. Not enough, that thing is too fast." In addition, Luo Qingshan didn't pay much attention. As a result, he did not see clearly what the thing that flashed past his eyes was. "Looks like locusts." Hu Min squatted down slightly and narrowed his eyes to observe at the edge of the farmland, and as his eyes lit up slightly, he suddenly took action. In his hand, a small locust appeared that seemed to have just hatched. Locust? But when Luo Qingshan heard these two words, he couldn't help but frown slightly. It is often said that a severe drought will be followed by a catastrophic disaster. Although Huaishui County is located on the side of Huaishui River, water resources are not as scarce as other places, but the emergence of locusts, this is not a good thing. I hope I'm just overthinking it. Although only a few small locusts appeared in those farmlands, the locusts are not that big either. It's considered within controllable range. However, Luo Qingshan still told his father about the matter in detail. "Did you see the locusts? And the water level of Huai River has also dropped." Qingshan town, the land of the Luo family, in the room where the head of the Luo family is, Luo Ping, who was sitting quietly on the main seat, heard these words. His brows couldn't help but frown slightly. Locusts that are small and within a controllable range can be ignored for the time being, but the water level of the Huai River has dropped. Definitely something worth taking seriously. Has the water level of Huai River been declining in recent days? Luo Qingshan nodded silently and said in a low voice, "The water level of the Huai River has dropped beyond the lowest level in history in recent years." After hearing these words, Luo Ping's slightly frowned brows couldn't help but frown deeper. If that's the case, that's a bit of a problem. "Has the well been drilled?" Luo Ping asked in a low voice. "A lot of wells have been drilled in recent days, but the water output is not very large. If the Huai River is really gradually drying up, those wells can't hold water for long." In the room, Luo Ping and Luo Qingshan talked for a while. Luo Qingshan left the room silently, left the Luo family land. As a young master, especially in this troubled time, naturally, there will be many things that gradually weigh on Luo Qingshan's shoulders. A blink of an eye, 3 more days passed. During these 3 days, the water level of the Huai River continued to drop. The size of the locusts seemed to be much larger, however. It is still within control. In addition, in the past few years, locusts have always been present. Therefore, the Luo family in Qingshan town did not pay much attention. The temperature seems to have increased a lot compared to the past few days. Qingshan town, the land of the Luo family, in the courtyard where Luo Qingshan was. At this time, Luo Qingshan was silently sitting under the stone pavilion, while drinking the cold tea with some ice cubes in his hand. He silently looked at the scorching sun in the sky. "Ancestor Qingshan, I think my cultivation level is a bit uncontrollable. We will probably break through today." Opposite Luo Qingshan, Luo Qingshan, who was also sitting quietly under the stone pavilion, said these words with a rather respectful expression. "Can't suppress it anymore. Is the breakthrough going to happen today?" Luo Qingshan nodded silently, and said in a low voice, "If you really can't control it, then get ready to break through the Zang refining process." Of course, because this little guy Luo Qingshan is the kind of breakthrough that comes naturally. Therefore, Luo Qingshan did not let him take pills such as broken mirror pill before his breakthrough. Although the broken mirror pill is good, but if you can avoid taking it, it would be better not to take it. In a blink of an eye, it was late at night. At this time, a bright crescent moon hung high in the sky. The surrounding temperature gradually became cooler as time passed. A successful breakthrough. Under the stone pavilion, Luo Qingshan looked at Luo Qingshan, who suddenly opened his eyes and stood up, and asked in a low voice. "Breakthrough?" Luo Qingshan nodded silently, but there was no excitement on his face.